Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Four Pillars podcast. I'm one of your hosts, one of the pillars, Tyler, joined by George and James. How you going, guys?
Hello everyone.
Doing
And hello
sweet.
Tyler. I'm good.
That's good.
How are you?
That's beautiful. I'm good. I'm very happy to be here today.
That's
it's
good.
an episode we've been very excited about for a while. It's finally here. Horizon Forbidden West spoiler cast. I can't wait to be able to finally not just talk about this game because we've been talking about it the last few weeks on the podcast, but to be able to talk about full spoilers.
Yeah.
You know,
Crazy
I haven't talked
shit.
to anyone about this really at all, so I'm
I
excited
mean, I
to talk to
finished
you boys
it,
about it.
When was it? It was about 3 a.m. this morning, so
Yeah,
I haven't talked
You
to
pushed
anyone
through.
about it.
yeah. You really
It's,
did
it's
push
fresh. So we're going to
It
get
is.
deep into it right away. I finished it a couple weeks ago. So
Weeks, fucking hell.
through. Yeah, I know. James, just quick. I think I finished it last week.
yeah.
I
I mean,
used
I
to be
finished
quick
it
at
quick, but I
completing
still put
games.
60 hours in. So
60. My God.
Jesus Christ.
I just played it non-stop. It coincided with when I got COVID, so I was just playing non-stop.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden
yeah.
West. It was perfect, to be honest.
I think I took 40 hours to complete it. And I felt like I did so much side content. So, like, they did a great job with the story isn't, like, too long. It does not overstay its welcome by any means, but it felt long. It felt like a long, well worthwhile story.
It does feel
You know?
long, especially when you like sort of do little bits of side content in between each big story moment, because
Yeah.
that's when side content feels most natural. It's like when you're heading back to the base or whatever. But we'll talk about that anyway when we get into
We'll
that.
get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we will obviously talk full spoilers. So if you haven't finished Horizon Forbidden West, don't listen or watch this podcast.
That would be a bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea. But there are a few things I want to talk to you guys about because
Cool.
this is a regular episode of the Four Pillars podcast. Yes, it's a spoiler cast. That'll be the majority of what we talk about.
What?
Briefly, catch up with the boys. How we doing? What's been going on? What games are we playing now post Horizon Forbidden West? James, George, obviously you're about to jump into Elden Ring now. James, how are you enjoying Elden Ring? And George, how are you feeling about jumping into Elden Ring? We'll start with you, George, because you haven't played any of it.
Okay. I'm really excited. It's going to be weird because I've been playing Horizon solidly for a long time, so haven't really done anything else. I'm going to platinum Horizon before I move on to Elden Ring, though, which I'm not too far away from. But Elden Ring, it's going to be an absolute gruel. It's going to be a grueling experience because obviously I'm going to get home from work. It's going to be like, right, now it's time to throw myself into this dark fantasy world that wants to fucking kill me at every turn. There may be some days where I'm just too tired to play it, and it's going to take me like months to finish Elden Ring. But I'm ready for it, and I'll fucking get there eventually. Yeah, very excited. New FromSoft game. I'm about to come. About to nut.
Yeah.
And
That's understandable.
James, how do you feel about Elden Ring?
Oh my god, I love it so much. It's so fucking good. All of the criticisms, or not criticisms, but I guess concerns we talked about last episode are just like gone. It's such a good game. And it's definitely one of those games that's not for everybody, as From Software games tend to be. But I think this is the most like wide-reaching one for sure. Like I think it's the most accessible. I'd argue this might even be a really good starting point, just because it's really not. It's not as unforgiving as like a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls, because like in those games when you die you got to run the whole level again. Whereas in Elden Ring you normally have a site of grace or a statue of whatever it's called outside the boss. Like you're very like so you can just kind of restart the boss right away and keep doing runs over and over and over again.
It's really weird.
And it's very similar to like Demon Souls. Obviously that's my marker because that's the only Souls game I've played, but it's very similar in a lot of ways, and I'm sure it's even more similar to probably like a Dark Souls. But it's got this uniqueness to it, and like I played for like every time I stream it, I end up going for probably like 5 hours minimum, just because I'm like, you get lost in exploring this world, and it's an open world in like such a weird, unique way that like I got lost in Horizon so differently to how I'm getting lost in Elden Ring.
Yeah, well, I mean, on Horizon you can always like bring up the map and set a waypoint, whereas in Elden Ring you're like, I'm actually lost. I don't know where I am.
Yeah, but the most amazing thing about it though that I didn't expect is, you know, like when you play, like, well, for Demon Souls for example, like you start to know your way through a level pretty perfectly because you keep doing runs of it. In Elden Ring, you honestly feel like you know the map, despite it being huge. Like, I can navigate the whole of the first area and the second area without even having to bring up my map, because I know exactly where I'm going, because they have landmarks in the right place, and it's really well done. Like, you can tell they've taken so much care in designing this world. It's crazy.
I was afraid that I was gonna like boot up Elden Ring absolutely stoned as fuck and just like get lost immediately and not know where the fuck I was going. And how do you tell between like main story instances and like side stuff? Is it obvious?
There's there's like cutscenes for it and stuff, but the sites of grace point you towards the correct direction to like follow the main story. So there's like these wisps in the air and stuff, and you can always tell like when you're going the right way. Like, I always know, because you're always like trying to push to the edge of the map. So like you go from like, because, well, to be fair, I accidentally like encountered the first main story boss within like 5 minutes of starting, because I got panicked and just went the wrong way and encountered it and died instantly. But you sort of just navigate, and sometimes I guess you would stumble across it, but it's quite obvious like where you're trying to get to and where is a side thing.
I'm glad about that
funnels
though,
you, so
because I was worried
it's good.
that it was going to be like I was going to spend loads of my time not knowing what was side content and what wasn't, and that I would just not feel in control of what I was doing.
Yeah,
so
it's the way they blend it is quite cool, because you kind of feel like everything is side content, but also everything is main content as well. Like, anything you do, you feel like you were supposed to do it, but if you miss something, you don't feel too bad about it because you didn't know it was there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff in the first couple areas that I've completely missed, but I feel like I've played so much of it that like I've got a decent grasp on sort of a lot of the like lore and location stuff. So it's cool, and like I've only done like really in the time I played, I think I played about 20 hours, maybe 25 hours, and I think I've done one main story section. The rest has all been just exploring the world. So it's really got
obviously.
me. Yeah, it's a huge game, but it can be a short game. Like some of these speed runs, they're doing it in like less than an hour already.
Oh yeah, 49 minutes or something like that, I think.
Which is crazy.
Oh man, Soul speed
but
runners.
like on a reasonable run, like how long do you think the game is?
I reckon like 40 to 60 hours, depending on how hard you find it.
Yeah, and how much you like exploration as well, because I mean, some people just don't.
80 hours.
Yeah, because the thing is as well, like, what I really like about it is if you come across a boss and you can't do it, like at the beginning I couldn't beat the Tree Sentinel, which is like a gold dude on a horseback, and I couldn't beat the dragon. I got close, but I couldn't quite do it, so I left it a bit and I went off and I did a bunch of other little side bosses and dungeons and stuff, and got like, you know, better weapons and leveled myself up, and then I came back and tackled it, and then you can beat them, and it feels great, because, you know, there's no like grind. You don't ever feel like you're going through the same area over and over and over again just to grind souls or runes.
Yeah.
You literally, like, the world is like, it's like contextual grinding. Like, the reason you're doing these things is to level up so you can take on the harder bosses. But all of it is such good content that like they've turned like the grind into actual content that's actually like the point of the game. It's really quite good.
That's pretty good actually, because I mean, in like even Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 and all those games, I would always do soul grinding. I mean, obviously you can't do that shit in Sekiro because there's no like leveling system, but in the other ones, I would always have sections in between like big bosses where I'll do soul grinding. So I'm glad that instead of it being me just doing a route from one bonfire to another, killing enemies and doing that for like 2 hours, now it's like I get to go to like a legacy dungeon and do that, and that just gives me my runes instead.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good, and it's just like you always feel like if you go and you explore, you always feel like you're leveling at like a really good pace. Everything feels balanced. Like when I took on the first major boss, or I guess it was the second major boss, because it's kind of like you start a boss and then it takes you through this castle and then you do a boss at the end of it. And that second boss, it took me a little while to do. Like, I was doing it over and over and over again, but I always felt like I was at the right level. I never felt like I was completely overwhelmed by the boss.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And it was a really fun fight too. Like, it felt fucking great when I finished it. So you've still got all that, like, you know, satisfying Souls stuff in there. It's just, like, really, really sick. So
Yeah,
I completely
wait.
understand why it's, like, taken the fucking gaming industry by storm and everyone's, like, raving about it. Because it is just, like... It's, like, such a, like, a perfectly polished, designed game. Which is what you expect from FromSoft. So.
I love everyone praising my boys over at From Software. I mean, they did win Game of the Year 2019, but I mean, this is like to a new extent where people. Are just
I think it's going to be.
it.
I think it's going to be tough having God of War go up against Elden Ring for Game of the Year. I think though that is going to be so interesting to see because both the Game of the Year winners.
I think
Sekiro
big Sony fans
and
are going to
God of War.
love. Big Sony fans are going to immediately go for like God of War. People like Eddie are immediately just going to disregard everything great about Elden Ring and just go, "Oh, it's God of War," so that's got to be gotty.
Well, that'll be me as well, to be fair, because I'm never going to play Elden Ring.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
yeah.
But then I think a lot of the wider video game industry will probably look towards Elden Ring, like PC players and you know people.
I
That play
think
Xbox and
with the
stuff like
way. I think with the way that the Game Awards are voted on, I feel like Elden Ring could have the upper hand here. But if God of War is like really, really good, like if it's better than God of War, the first
If it does
one
what
by,
Forbidden
like,
West did to Zero Dawn, like you're talking
then
about
it's-
the greatest game of all time.
it stands a
That's what
really,
you're
really
talking
good
about.
chance of beating Elden Ring. I think this is going to be such a good game of like
Oh,
Game
I can't
Awards
wait.
this year.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
'Cause to be
see
fair, if
Elden
I'm
Ring
being
and God of War
honest-
go head to head.
Oh, I think you're disregarding the game we're talking about today on today's podcast. Personally.
Horizon Forbidden
Forget
West.
it.
That's
I
true.
mean,
We've
for
been talking
me-
about Elden Ring for like 10 minutes.
I
Yeah,
don't
look,
know what the fuck half of this
for
stuff
me-
you're talking about is.
Horizon definitely for me is like in the running for my game of the year for sure. I think it probably so far takes the cake just because I'm not a hardcore Souls fan.
Yeah.
Like obviously I really appreciate Elden Ring, but I'm such a like story guy. So if a game has like a really solid story and it's super immersive in the way that it tells its story, that's always going to be my pick. But I think general audiences see Horizon as more of like a Ubisoft Witcher clone, which it's not, but I feel like that's the way a lot of people see it.
Yeah, it's a shame, to be fair.
It's kind of like got its niche audience, but the mainstream kind of disregards Horizon for the
I don't
most
feel
part.
Which
like
is
that's
weird.
true. Horizon's a big selling game. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a big selling game for sure, but when you look in these like circles of like journalists and like content creators and stuff, all of them pretty much do dismiss Horizon as
I mean,
it's a
even in our
really
own
good open
community,
world, but
There's
there's
loads
plenty
of people that are just like,
it's just
Horizon's
mid,
not
you
very
know?
good. It's just mid. Aloy's just not that great. The world just isn't that cool. It never gripped me.
I see it a lot. Yeah, I always
it's always
feel
that
quite,
one line. It's like it never gripped me. It never jumped out at me.
yeah, it's just boring.
What
you know?
the fuck do you want it to do? Jump
I
out
want
of
it
here?
to dive out of the
I
screen.
want it
at
to
me.
like assault me and my family. I want it to
I
leave
want
me
it
in a
to.
broken mess.
I want it to tackle me.
I want Horizon Forbidden West to jump through the window and assault me and my family.
Yeah,
I really want it.
yeah. That's the only issue, exactly. Like, if it did more of that, like more attacking me and my family,
More assault.
Then
Yeah.
it'd be a
more
10 out of
assault,
10.
then it would be a 10 out of 10.
I want it to
Yeah,
call
so if it was
the
a
Pharaoh
Ubisoft
Plague
game,
on
it
my
would
house.
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, what? Sorry, what?
Ubisoft?
No.
What? Oh,
Before we get into Horizon, was there anything else going on? James and I talked on Clubhouse over on patreon.com/, as always, about the OBI-WAN trailer. George, did you watch it? Obviously,
yeah, I
you did.
did.
What do you think? What do you think?
nothing
How do you
happens
feel?
in it, but I was excited. I'm very excited for it. It looks cool. But it doesn't
It's
really tell
really-
us anything about what it's going to be about.
No, but it gave you vibes. Like, and I think the
Yeah.
biggest vibe of anything was how much. And James and I talked again on Clubhouse about it. That it's like this is the first thing kids that grew up with the prequels that like those are our Star Wars movies we grew up with.
Yeah.
We're prequels kids. You know, this is the first thing we've been given by Disney that's ours. You
It
know,
is,
or
to be fair, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you look at it, all they've done is pander to, you know, 50-year-old Star Wars virgins, like for the last,
the original
however
trilogy.
long, like 7 years.
Opposed to like 20-year-old Star Wars virgins.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what I care about.
Exactly.
They've had their time. Now it's our time.
Yeah.
Old
Give it to
man.
me.
It's time for the kids
Our
to
movies
rise
were
up.
always disrespected. Some for valid reasons, some for not so. But at the end of the day, it's finally time for, and it just feels like it's respecting the prequels in the sense of that's where it's taking its inspiration from, that's where its focus is coming from.
Yeah.
And obviously having Hayden back and Ewan, like that sets that tone straight away. Reading some articles that came out, I think it was from Empire magazine or whatever. I read their piece on Obi-Wan, and it was Hayden and Ewan were talking and how excited the crew all were. Ewan said one day he showed up to set and like there's like 100 people on set and no one was doing their job. Like no one was doing anything. Everyone was just sort of standing and waiting. And he's like, "This is weird. Why is everyone?"
Sounds like a great production
standing?
process.
He just goes, "What the fuck? Why is everyone sitting around waiting? Well, this is so weird." Like, and they're not looking at him, but they're all sort of facing one direction. And he said it was in some sort of like weird like alley sort of thing. And he turned around and he saw Hayden come around the corner, and he goes, "Ah, fuck, that's it."
Everyone's staring at Hayden.
Everyone was waiting for it because I think he was in the Darth Vader outfit.
Yeah,
and I
Darth
think
Vader,
everyone was, on the set obviously was just like obviously in awe of the, of that, and I just love that sort of, crew making it, and yeah, just we've been excited for this a long time. I just feel like this is the last thing, this last Star Wars thing, and then.
Forever.
But then you also get worried Kathleen's going to fucking ruin it. Like her talking about Mandalorian crossover. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what in the world are you talking about?
Mandalorian crossover
like
with Obi-Wan. How does that work?
Yeah, exactly.
Like 20 years apart or some weird shit.
They sure are. But Kathleen's
They
like, no,
are
it all
indeed,
fits together in the timeline. And I was like, no, it doesn't.
Mandalorian shows up in
doesn't.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
and he's just like, hello there. Are you the Mandalorian?
Oh god, I said
Baby
this on
Yoda.
stream the other day, but they're gonna fucking do the hello there thing, aren't they?
Yeah,
and I feel like they're gonna do
Disney,
it more than
of
once.
course they're gonna do it. No, I don't think they're
They're
gonna do
gonna
it
be
more than
like-
once. They can't.
Oh, you can't
Oh,
do it
God.
once.
I don't know.
They'll maybe
Disney
have
are
Obi-Wan
Disney.
say it once and then have another character say it to Obi-Wan. It's like, oh look, they've switched it on him. Look, someone's saying hello there to him now. Do you get it, guys?
Well, a
Oh my
big
God.
word was that the show is focused and its theme is really on hope and being a hopeful story, whereas
Well,
the
yeah.
original script that they wrote was very dark and like.
I want the
not-
dark one. Give
not
me the
very hopeful.
depressing one.
It's
Give me that one.
Give me the scary one, the one that has.
I
me
feel like if they
scared.
did that sort of one, you wouldn't have a Darth Vader in it. Because as soon as you introduce Darth Vader, yeah, 100%. Because as soon as you introduce a Darth Vader, like, what's got to be about? Like, the story between Obi-Wan and Anakin is going to be one of, like, hope and that, or else what's the point of them both being in a narrative? You know what I mean?
have
Like,
cool scenes
But how
where
can
Vader
it
smashes
be?
people up.
yeah.
How can it be a story of hope if it has to end with Obi-Wan deciding that Anakin is gone completely and
Because
Darth Vader
his
has
ho-
to be killed?
Because his hope is in Luke.
Yeah.
You might see,
Ah,
like, I'm
yes,
waiting
No one
to
cares
see
about Leia,
Luke
though.
in. No one gives a fuck. I'm
Luke
well,
is
no,
the
no,
new
no, no,
hope,
no.
as we
Jimmy
know.
Smits is back playing Organa in it, so Leia's going to be in it as well.
Who is?
So Leia will be
There
in it
is
as well.
potential
Jimmy,
for that, yeah, for sure.
did you say who is?
They got Carrie Fisher back. Oh fucking hell! Well, they should let her rest for crying out loud.
Oh god.
Who's
They
playing?
put
her,
a
sorry?
CGI layer on a little kid.
Well,
Oh,
they did
it's
do that
CGI Carrie
on a
Fisher
little
on a kid. Well, yeah, because she'd be a kid.
Do they have her like adopted father back?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's who Tyler's talking
yeah,
about.
I
Yeah.
fucking love that dude. He's so
Oh, I fucking love
Yeah,
Jimmy
he's
Smits.
cool. He was
He's
in Rogue
such a
One.
great actor. He was in Rogue One. That's why I'm not surprised he's back. He's also
Yeah.
one of the main characters in Sons of Anarchy, my favorite show of all time. So
I see.
I really love Jimmy Smits. He's fucking awesome.
What do you think about the characters that have come from the cartoon, from Clone Wars and or Rebels, and now they're live action?
Yeah,
and
I'm
everyone's-
excited. I'm excited to see them live action.
everyone's
I
going
think everyone
mad.
else. Yeah, well, I think everyone that's getting mad needs to touch fucking grass.
Oh my god, the Grand Inquisitor looks so stupid. He's got such a fat head.
He does.
It looks so funny.
It is kind of dumb considering in the prequels before they have made accurate versions of that species, but for some reason the one now just looks fucking weird. But I don't really care. I haven't watched Rebels.
Because like what's his name? The guy from Harry Potter and other things. What's his name? Who played the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch
him.
Malfoy's dad.
Yeah. He looks like him.
It's
Malfoy's
weird that
dad.
they recast him because he was the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels. So, and he's a good actor. Like he's not like he's like a small actor. Like,
I don't know. Maybe it was a COVID thing. They did film this like in the midst of it.
Yeah, maybe.
It can't be a fucking excuse. Everyone always making the excuse. Oh, I was filmed in COVID, bro. Just fucking get better at filming, then.
Get better at filming.
Shut up, George.
Get better at making a fucking multi-million-dollar production, you fucks. I could do it with one hand.
I could do it with one hand.
Oh man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
everyone looks good though.
Looks cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some, interesting storylines they could go with it. I think the hope in the story at the end is going to be all surrounding Luke.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll do some Leia stuff, but I think it'll be mostly Luke because again it's an Obi-Wan show. But
Yeah.
I think that Luke, we will see at the end, Obi-Wan will observe Luke doing something crazy with the Force. Like that he doesn't realise, show some
like,
sort of skill.
Something that a kid shouldn't be able to do with the Force.
Yeah. I just think
But
something
Luke
will happen.
doesn't do the Force though. He like takes ages to learn it and everything. Wouldn't that be weird if he just like exhibits
But it might,
this one...
but it might be like he's a really good pilot or something like that. It could be.
He is a really good pilot. That is true.
Smashes
Oh,
some
and it'd be
fucking
like
womp
he sees Anakin in him because Anakin was like a really good pilot.
And a pod racer, and he'll think.
I mean, they have that in the
Tatooine
trailer,
when he met him as a 8-year-old boy.
Oh my god, give me pod racing in this show.
Yeah.
Get Luke to do
boy.
pod racing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, what if? Like, I think that'll be the ending. I'm not saying he necessarily has like fucking lift something with the Force. I'm just saying like he just sees Anakin within Luke, and I think from Phantom Menace the callback would be you see how good, and they even showed it in the trailer. It looks like Luke was pod racing on the roof.
Pretending he was in
the goggles
a
on,
speeder or a ship or something.
Yeah.
So he could be really talented at something that, and then I just think in that Obi-Wan will see that and will bring that memory back of Anakin, and he'll think see that hope again, and that leads us into a New Hope. I think that's the way you do it.
You'll go, this is the main character.
So
boys.
good.
Yeah. That's the way I think it should be. Like you
But
make
I still
it about.
refuse to train him until like 20 years later.
Oh, it's like 10 years later.
Is this set 10 years? What? How old is he in Obi-Wan?
This is set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
He's like a little boy. Oh yeah, then 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years later. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yep.
Timelines. I'm not very good at them.
I've been watching a lot of Star Wars clips on YouTube of just like Revenge of the Sith clips and prequel clips and Obi-Wan clips and Darth Vader stuff. Like just like getting so pumped up. I'm so excited about it.
Does it come out again May 7th or something?
No, 25th, which is the
I
I think is 45 years to the day A New Hope came out.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. It is very cool, to be fair. Yeah. Alec Guinness is watching down from the heavens, and he's going, of course I know him. He's me.
That sounded nothing like him, George. That's the worst impression I've ever heard you do.
He's me.
He's me.
You're in the wrong place.
That's another great line from my favourite man, Alec Guinness, who was dead many years before that line was recorded.
Oh man, I love him. Should reanimate him with CGI.
Yeah.
Oh god.
This is reanimating.
Well, did you hear that? Did you hear them? Did you hear them talking about? Well, Kathleen goes, "We could do a season 2, maybe."
Oh no, please don't do it.
Yeah, we don't need season 2. We don't. Need
Watch them do it though.
This is the last thing that
watch everyone love this. Watch everyone love this, and then they ruin
Disney.
it. And then they ruin it.
Hell.
They'll have
Every year for the next 4 years, we see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan lightsaber fight. And
Oh,
every time Darth Vader loses and goes, next time.
And the thing is, the fans will love it as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. All those fucking fans on Twitter will be like, this is the best! Never stop making these! We'll just have Obi-Wan series for the rest of time. Oh god.
Do you
I
guys
will
reckon
watch-
there's going
I
to be
will watch it
flashback
forever.
to Clone Wars where Anakin's with Ahsoka?
Yes,
Where
I
he's got
do,
Ahsoka.
and I think
I
Ahsoka. I think
feel-
Ahsoka will 100% be in this as well. 100% Ahsoka's gonna be in this.
I think when you like so when you get Hayden back, he's like it'd be so crazy just to have him in the Darth Vader suit and that's
yeah,
it. Like
exactly.
you never see him. Like you've got to have flashbacks to the Clone Wars. You would think.
Yeah.
In this show, and I mean, in terms of Ahsoka, I feel like you could do her in flashbacks, or you could not. I don't really know, but if she shows up,
that's a bit
well,
inappropriate.
there's no reason Ahsoka
Okay.
can't show up and help Obi-Wan.
well, I don't think because the first time
obviously know
she
each other
sees
well.
Vader is in Rebels.
When she's
Well, maybe she
a
doesn't
because
see
grown
that's
Obi-Wan,
when
woman.
she sees Obi-Wan.
Maybe I don't need Ahsoka in it.
Don't need Ahsoka in what?
I'm not saying you need her in it. I'm just saying that she will be in it.
I
I
don't
think
want
it'd
her
be
in it.
good. Why not? What's wrong with her?
Just
What's wrong with
because
Ahsoka?
it'll be Disney. They won't be like. I don't know. I think it'll be Disney's way of
Hayden's
like
already
tying
gonna
it to
be
the
in
Mandalorian.
these.
or
Fun,
whatever.
bro. It's a fucking TV show.
I
He
hate
hates
Star
Star
Wars.
Experience. So do
I
I.
want
mean,
this to
I
be
fucking hate it.
isolated. I just want this to be an isolated Obi-Wan story. I don't need all these connections and stuff. And I also
There's
don't
nothing
like
wrong
live
with
action
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. I think
She's
she looks
cool.
dumb.
Well, yeah, but it won't be played by a fully grown woman. It'll be like teenage Ahsoka when she was like 14, won't it?
Yeah, but that's even worse because then like you're actually like butchering one of my favorite characters from the animated show. Like
I don't think
know.
the live action Ahsoka's that bad.
Oh, I think it looks dumb.
Oh, I've
I
not
just think
watched it.
all of the Mandalorian looks dumb. I don't know. I'm
Woman that
obviously an
plays Claire
outlier,
Temple,
but
isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah, I just think the Mandalorian in general looks quite cheap. Like it never sold me on the world, to be honest. I always felt like it was.
I really like today's episode
fake.
of The Mandalorian. It's fucking great. It's fucking sick.
It was amazing. I loved it when Luke showed up. It was amazing.
CGI.
The
Luke. That was Book
the,
of Boba Fett, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
both.
was.
Both, yeah.
It was both. Yeah.
The other thing with this Obi-Wan show, just in terms of, man, I just lost it. The other thing with this Obi-Wan show, other than Ahsoka, I do think there'll be other connections and they're gonna do some like,
Do you reckon they'll have Max Rebo in it?
I don't know, but I think that they'll
Please.
have like, certain surprises, and I'd love to see for the most part, why you've got Hayden, why you've got Darth Vader, and you've got 6 hours to kill. I don't think I need to see 6 hours of Obi-Wan just going through some secret mission, go on different planets, and then end up fighting Vader at the end. Like, I want you to split a bunch of the show and give like a good chunk of time to Darth Vader scenes. And him going through his own shit as well after Revenge of the Sith. Let's not just see where Obi-Wan's head's at. You know, let's also see where Darth Vader's head's at.
Hello?
Tyler's
Tyler just
gone.
cut out again.
He
There you
died. He died. I don't know what he was gonna say.
go. Crying out loud.
But I can infer that he probably said something about having Darth Vader scenes so that you can see where Darth Vader's at mentally as well as Obi-Wan, because that would be cool.
See what his mental health is like.
Stuff I'd want to write, like if I can make a Star Wars movie. And one of those scenes is about... I fucking cut out. God damn it.
I want to see him
I feel a
staring
little bit
lovingly into a
depressed.
picture of Padme. I feel a little bit depressed.
That's what he says.
He's like, I feel a little bit depressed.
Palpatine comes in and he's like, "Hey, my boy, how are you feeling?" And he goes,
Oh my god.
"I'm feeling a little bit depressed."
I wonder if Palpatine will be in this show.
Is his
At
voice
all.
not in the trailer? I swear his voice was in the trailer.
I think it was, yeah.
Hey, my
Which is
boy.
interesting. It's like whether
He'll
they're
probably
just
be in
gonna
it.
get
It's
like
Disney.
have him narrate or whether he'll like actually be in it.
I don't know.
I think it would be cool.
What do you think about that theory that's like, Obi-Wan's gonna get force lightninged at some point, which is gonna age him so he looks more like Alec Guinness?
That would be so dumb.
It
That'd be
doesn't
so
make any sense
stupid.
because it is set like
No, it doesn't.
He can get grey in 10 years. That's not like 10
Yeah, and he
years is a
looks
long
old
time.
in this. Like he's got like a lot of wrinkles and stuff they've given him, and
And
he's got long hair and he's got some
it
greys
makes
in there.
sense, like realistically as well, because in real life it's been 20 years since the prequels. Yet in this universe it's only been 10, so he almost
Yeah.
looks older than he should.
Yeah, exactly. He's aged like 20 years in space, 10 years. But that's what happens to you when you're living on a desert planet.
Exactly.
With
and you've got the big sand people
sustenance.
going.
Yeah, exactly. He probably gets such little sleep because he hears the sand people. He probably thinks to himself, no wonder Anakin killed them all.
Exactly. No wonder
Like,
Anakin killed
they're
the
the
women and the
worst.
children too.
Exactly, because even the women and the children are making that stupid noise at fucking 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I'd love to see that broken scene where Anakin sort of has to face himself,
Yeah.
you know, and face Padme. And I always talked about, like, the story I'd always wanted to see with Darth Vader, to see him fully go to the Darth Vader that we see in A New Hope from the Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader, would be, like, the Emperor using mind, like, manipulation to have Vader see visions of Padme for, like, a long time and use that against him, and, like, have her, like, the scene. I always wanted it to be, like, Darth Vader went to her grave on Naboo or something like that, or a tomb. And, like, he actually...
This is literally the fan movie that Star Wars Theory made. He just made your idea.
Did he really?
Yeah.
But I did this... How many years ago did I make this? Like 7 years ago?
Yeah, I know. I remember you
Like-
telling me about this because you put it up on Ruthless Productions.
Oh, yeah, Ruthless Productions. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, dude, that's a long time ago.
It's classic.
But, yeah, that, like... I've never seen Star Wars Series 1 of that, so that's annoying. I don't like that he stole my idea. Maybe you watched that video and he took it, and that's fine.
Maybe.
I want everyone I want that scene to happen. So I don't give a shit if, like, someone steals it, and then, as long as they do it,
Yeah.
where he has to
Fine.
face
Like that, I
Padme,
guess.
and, yeah, and that she, like, starts, like, going off at him, and fucking, he goes to strike her down.
What the fuck is your
I-
problem?
I do think, though, like, 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith, I feel like it's a long time for Anakin to still be within a conflict.
I agree with that. No, I do agree with that. That's why I'd like...
conflict right until he dies in when he does the
Yeah, but, like,
Emperor.
when
I know.
you see
No,
him in, like,
I know.
Rogue
I don't
One-
really want this Padme scene, the Padme scene now, that way. That's if, like, they did a Darth Vader movie and it was sort of a different thing, a different time. At this point, but I would like to see him face himself and still deal with some inner demons, but maybe not the Padme stuff. I feel like
I
that
think
should be sort
maybe-
of cold and dead inside him.
You could have him, like, at this point, there's still, like, he's pretty much Darth Vader, but you could still see those remnants of Anakin, and maybe you could have a moment where he finally kills Anakin inside him, like that moment they had in the comic, in one of the old comics or something. It might be canon,
Yeah.
it might not be canon, but it'd be kind of cool to see that on screen, to see him have this, like, inner conflict with, you know, his Anakin side of the Force, and Darth Vader sort of, you know, and eventually killing off Anakin to be the Darth Vader that we sort of know from
Yeah,
the rest of Star Wars canon.
yeah,
It'd be kind of cool.
yeah, that would be cool.
That's the thing.
yeah.
Though, if you show too many moments of like Vader being like almost human, it makes him a lot less scary. So they have to do it right. They can't just have a moment where he's like, I'm a bit depressed.
I feel a little bit sad.
Feel a little bit sick.
Oh, God. But the music, that's what I just loved it about that trailer, though.
Didn't
you got
isn't
Duel of
John
Fates.
Williams
Yeah,
going
Duel
back?
of Fates.
But
He
more-
is, yeah. He is for this, which is interesting, because he said he was done.
He said he was done.
He's
He,
come
he
back.
always says he's done, and then he comes back for a
And then he
special
comes
little
back
one.
again, yeah.
He does.
But
He
he
can't
is.
help himself.
But this
Which
is
is
Obi-Wan.
really
I'm
cool.
sure Ewan, they were like, Ewan, we need you to go talk to him. And he goes, look, it's for me. And he's like, all right, for you.
Yeah. And he's
That's
gonna.
what-
He's
that's what I
apparently
think
composing, like, he's doing, like, the main theme, like, he's giving Obi-Wan, like, a main theme or something, which is an interesting thing, because I'm, like, originally I was like, oh, they're gonna give him a main theme in this, and it's gonna be, like, a really weird point in his timeline to give him a main theme that never plays in the prequels and never plays in the original trilogy. But if you got John Williams doing it, this is the perfect time for him to blend his old melodies together to make something unique for this period.
Yeah,
Which
agreed.
gives me sort of like, yeah, I'm quite hopeful for what they do there.
Yeah, especially with, like, you get that tone of they'll be using some old themes throughout this. Like, I want to see a different version of Battle of the Heroes. When Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight in this, it has to be a Battle of the Heroes. Like,
Oh
I think
my
it has
to be,
to be.
god!
It has to be.
does.
Could
It
you
has
imagine
to
it
be.
would be so
It
good?
has to be.
Oh
Like, even
my
if they
God.
blended, because I listened to, I posted on my Instagram story, like, this, like, someone fan did a composition blend version of Duel of the Fates and Battle of Heroes. Like, I feel like it needs to be the music and that sort of vibe where you combine maybe a Duel of the Fates, Battle of Heroes, alternate rendition with some unique, elements that are unique to this. This particular, well, not film, but show. That's what I think should happen.
Yeah.
Like that when you hear that sort of main part hit that peak moment, and Battle of the Heroes is playing in the background as Darth Vader and Obi-Wan clash, and it's Hayden and Ewan again.
Oh my God.
It's like,
oh my God.
Oh,
It's gonna be the most amazing. Like, this is the thing. Like, this must be what, like, those, like, 50-year-old, like, guys think when they, like, see the Mandalorian. They see, like, old Luke Skywalker show up. Like, that's their childhood. But, like, for me, this is like that's what it feels like.
that,
Like,
yeah.
seeing Hayden
Anakin,
and
bro.
Ewan McGregor again. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's gonna be so good.
The OGs.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't
Oh
wait.
man, I'm so fucking excited. I can't wait for
Oh, me
like
too.
flashbacks from like Revenge of the Sith era and like Clone Wars era and stuff as well. Like, oh.
Yeah, I want to see some of those bits.
imagine seeing
It's
Hayden
gonna be
Christensen
nice.
in their like Clone Wars armor.
Yeah.
Of Anakin.
God, be so nice.
And fucking what's his face? Ewan McGregor in the Clone Wars outfit where it's like got the bit of clone armor on it.
Yeah,
With the white
yeah.
bits.
Well, they have that in Battlefront 2, which is quite
So it's
cool.
like so it's
They
like a
gave
live
him an
action
outfit.
version.
Yeah, so
That's
it's like looks
cool,
like Ewan
actually.
McGregor, but he's like wearing the armor. It looks pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah. Do you reckon Qui-Gon Jinn will show up at any point?
I do. I think
That
gotta
would be
a
so
surprise.
good.
It would be.
I hope
wouldn't
That's
it?
one of the
Force
surprises.
Ghost.
Like when you see connections and surprises and people showing up, what you want is things like that. Those are the good versions. Ahsoka, not
Yeah.
necessarily like that good of an idea to do. Maybe they could do a good job with her, but Liam
Possibly.
Neeson coming back is what
Yeah.
you really want to see.
Yeah,
That would
is
be
what I want.
so good. Imagine Liam Neeson coming back. Oh my God,
Be so
that'd be
sick.
incredible. That would be
He-
so
I'm
good.
sure he'd
didn't
be
they,
happy to do
didn't they
that.
get him? He came back to voice Qui-Gon in the Clone Wars, didn't he? For that short, brief scene in one of the arcs.
I
I'm
never
pretty
Yeah,
got
sure
that
that
they
was-
actually got
episode,
Liam
so I
Neeson.
don't remember. But
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was actually Liam Neeson. So he seems like he is down to do bits and bobs. So be
It's
really
pretty
cool.
amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Fuck. You don't happen to have anything you recommend, do you, George?
nah, not this week.
That's all right. That's
Not
right.
this
Because
week.
we've got plenty to talk about, and it's been a
Yeah.
good half an hour.
We got
Yeah.
Horizon to jump
Jeez,
into.
it's been about 37 minutes since I pressed
Yeah.
the record button. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
Yeah, we do have Horizon, so therefore I'm all set.
Yeah.
It's good to feel all set again. You know, it's been a while since I felt all set.
Yeah, man.
But here we are. So, let's jump in. Full spoilers ahead, everybody. For Horizon Forbidden West, we'll jump in with our general thoughts, general review, and you can throw in all the spoilers you want into it. And then we'll start jumping into specifics and try to go in chronological-ish order through the story, and through that we can sort of jump around to whatever catches our eye, whether that be the actual gameplay, the open world, the other little things that we may think of, characters and stuff along the way. But George, I'm very interested. You're the freshest person to
You're the
finish
freshest.
it. You're the freshest.
freshest.
You're just the freshest.
I am
I
a
can smell
fresh
your breath
guy.
from here. I can
That's
smell
a
the
good
Listerine.
thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Through the headphones, I can smell your Listerine.
Smell-o-vision.
So
Amazing.
you are the freshest, and I would love to hear your thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West.
Well, what can I say? I really fucking loved it. Like, I'm not gonna yet go into too many details about the ending because I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But it did feel like this long journey that's way on a completely different level to Zero Dawn. I think back to Zero Dawn and like it's like that story is so simplistic. It's like you got Hades, you got Silence, and it's just like there's mystery to it, and you know you find out that Aloy is the clone of Elizabeth Sobek, and that's crazy to you. And it's like what's going on? You got Gaia, and all that's explained. But in this game, it's like everything's fucking crazy. like absolutely crazy. I mean, you have a fucking like Star Wars level like robot battle at the end, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But it's like the stakes are so much higher. The entire world is about to be destroyed instead of just Meridian. You know, fucking. It's amazing. It's amazing. They've really, this series has really come into its own, and it's just amazing to see. But yeah, that's basically my overall opinions on it. Like, I fucking really enjoyed it. My favourite sequel in a very long time. And I can't wait for DLC if that's something they're gonna do. I would like an expansion. I think that'd be fun because the Frozen Wilds was really good.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you said, where this game is so much crazier than Zero Dawn, it reminds me almost of like a Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
In the first game is this self-contained story that is crazy in of itself, but then when you look at the sequel, it's like, holy shit, that makes the original one look like such a simple game.
Yeah.
And they just went so much bigger with Forbidden West in all of the best ways. And I do think it's a story that's probably going to be divisive for some people. Some people can be like, oh, I don't like they went too crazy with it, kind of like how you look at some other franchises where they had some precedent for some interesting lore, but then you take it further and people are like, oh, I don't like they took it so far. I think that people are going to be like, some people are not going to be super into the way they went with it, like going into like space travel and like this that sort of thing. But I absolutely loved that. I thought it was all absolutely just so good. I love that they just indulged in Horizon lore. Like they didn't do something new. They were like, let's look at like what was talked about in some of the data files in Zero Dawn. Like, now let's use that for our main focus of a sequel. So everything we see in like Forbidden West is completely grounded in Zero Dawn lore, and so it just feels so rewarding to like have that like expansion on things we already knew existed, like the Odyssey and like Far Zenith and stuff. So I just think all that was just so great. Like you said, it's just one of the best sequels we've had in such a long time. And Sony have just sort of nailed that, like creating a true sequel to Zero Dawn that in a lot of ways makes Zero Dawn better. But just adds to
really
this universe in such a meaningful way and perfectly sets up, a third game in a trilogy to conclude it. I think in a lot of ways, Forbidden West reminds me of Mass Effect 2. In that when you look at Mass Effect as a trilogy without spoiling anything, Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 3 are very much focused on similar threats, where it's like kind of like they connect very directly to each other, whereas Mass Effect 2 is very much all about world building, character building, and building this backstory to like sort of give more context to the Reaper threat and their history with the Protheans and stuff like that. And I think Forbidden West does a lot of those things where it's not directly giving us this next part to the story, but it's this middle part that connects the first and last in a very meaningful way that adds like really important context and really important character growth. And it just gives me very big Mass Effect 2 vibes in that way. And I think it's just like a really, really solid middle point of a trilogy. And it's just,
ridiculously solid. I think, I do think it will be a trilogy, to be fair. I don't know if they'll go any further than 3 games.
Yeah, I feel like... I think they said when they were doing Zero Dawn that they've got a trilogy planned that they want to do. I mean, you never know. They might do another entry eventually, like when we saw Uncharted 4. Or they might just call it a day after the third one. But either way, they've got a solid trilogy here, for sure.
They do, definitely.
Yeah. I'm totally with you guys. I thought this game was incredible. I've said it for weeks. I can't believe this game's better than Zero Dawn. I didn't think it was possible. After Zero Dawn, and just based on all the stuff it revealed about the world and it being the first one and it introducing us to the world and everything being so like you're just in this like bewilderment of like this, oh my god, like learning all the backstory about what's happened and who Aloy is, and surely like they can't recreate that again, and they did, and they blew it out of the water, to be honest. And like you said, James, they made Horizon Zero Dawn better along with it. So I think the game's absolutely phenomenal. I thought Aloy grew tremendously. They had a lot of good interesting tropes and things they explored with her as a character, and things she had to face in this story that really pushed her, that really challenged her, which I thought was great to see. So yeah, I just thought it was absolutely amazing, and lots of the side characters, even from Zero Dawn, like when we finished with Zero Dawn, I thought, obviously I love Aloy. I can't wait to see what's next for her, and there's other characters I like Silence, or what's going to happen there. But when I'm thinking about Forbidden West, I'm like, all I care about is obviously seeing Aloy again, and obviously you're going to see Silence, and that'll be great. But I didn't really care for anyone else. I didn't care if I didn't see, Val.
But Erend.
Anyone again. No, I was like, whatever. Like, I liked him. I liked him,
was
but
probably my favourite supporting character.
He was yeah, same. But
other
then
than
you go
Silence, if you count him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm with you. Like, I love Rost and stuff, but he's dead, so like you're not going to see him in Forbidden West.
Rost is going to come back in the third one as a big robot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this game just did an amazing job to not only make me love characters from Zero Dawn even more, like, I can't wait to see Erend again in this third game, right? It made Val was MVP of side characters. He was amazing.
So good.
He was
so good.
Unbelievable in
Val
this. It was
amazing.
it was actually it should be against the law how good he went from being like how improved he was from that first game to this
ridiculous.
game.
It's
like
ridiculous.
I can't.
So good.
Have you ever seen a game take a side character that's been in this franchise and make them that much better in a sequel?
No, I don't think
I don't think I've ever seen it before.
Like, he was a nice guy in like Horizon Zero Dawn, but you just didn't really see him very much. He was only in the Nora Sacred Lands, and he was like a character that you meet at the beginning and then don't really see again. And then it's like, well, he helps you at the end when you fight a Meridian, when you fight Hades at Meridian.
And when you come back to the All-Mother Mountain as well to fight the Thunderjaw, he's there with the matriarchs. But
But in this game, you're talking about a guy that was like the fucking Sam to your Frodo. Like the most loyal person that would do anything for you, and he was there to keep you level-headed because he was almost Aloy's conscience at times. To like, as she got swept up in the emotion and the responsibility and the weight of the world, she needed people. Like, that was such a big part of her story in this game, was her realizing she can't do it alone.
Yeah,
the game starts with her pushing everyone away. It starts with, everyone very disappointed that she just left them at the end of Zero Dawn.
Yeah, when she was
Sorry,
like, I'm
I'm
the
busy.
only one that can sort this problem
Yeah, I'm
out.
the only one who can do it. And Val was like, well, he just saw it as like, well, you can't get away from me. I've sworn myself to you. And Erend is very sad about it. He's like, yeah, but you've got someone better to be. Like, that's how really pushing people away, and it's really tormenting her. Exactly. And you see that, but what she has to go throughout this whole game is realizing, and it's Val that shows her more than anyone else that she doesn't have to do this alone. And she opens up to those people, so they made those Zero Dawn characters great, but they also have incredible original characters.
The new characters, yeah.
Oh, they're so
good. I love the new characters in this game, and they all had like loyalty missions as well.
Oh,
like,
it's so
Mass Effect. Brilliant.
That was the Mass Effect element to this game was so unexpected and so welcomed. Like, what a great component to add to this game. And I think that's such a big standout for me as well, is that it added a whole new layer as a sequel to just the characters in the universe. Now I think about a third game and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see Aloy. But then I'd start listing off, there's heaps of characters I can't wait to see return.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just Aloy now. There's so many.
It's a team. It's like you've got this core team of characters now. Like, I can't wait to see the main Horizon crew again.
Yeah, it's like the
and see
gang.
who joins it.
Yeah. It's like
it's really
of,
good.
Kingdom Hearts. So you've got you got the like Sora, Riku, Kairi, Mickey, Goofy, Donald, and everyone, and they're all like this group. And now in Horizon Forbidden West, you've got the group of that game. They're all such unique characters cool. as well. Like, it's amazing. Not one of them is exactly the same as the last.
And I think to them, and I'm like, which is my favorite? I'm like, I don't know. They're all so interesting, because I'm like, oh well, maybe like Zoe because you meet her first, but then I'm like, but I really liked Alva as well. I thought like she was so interesting as a character, and like Cathalo was so Like I thought he would annoy me, like being like one of those classic tribal people. But what I love is the way that they don't linger on like what they are from the beginning. It's like you can really see that development. Like as soon as they go back to the base, they start using the focus. Like they're learning all these new things. And they talk to you about it, and you can see over the course of the game, the more conversations you have, they start picking up on, you know, information. They start picking up on these particular like phrases and words. They change the way they speak to you, and it's like they're starting to learn. And like it's not the way I thought they would go with Horizon at all. Like having more people like Aloy. Like more people learning all this information and then wanting to go out and spread the word as well.
Yeah, but at the end when they of go out and spread the word of like what everything is happening and the truth of like the old ones and stuff like that, it's so fucking cool.
It's so cool. It's such a cool idea, and I never thought of it. Like that's one of the things I think makes this game so strong. Is that there was a way that like everything we were speculating about this game for such a long time just wasn't the game that we got, and I think that's so good because like you know that post-credit scene isn't like indicative of the game at all. Like the one from Zero Dawn where Silence gets Hades and it like turns to the Metal Devil. Like that's not the game we got. Like that was completely a sort of misdirect where when you start the game you kill Hades right at the beginning and then it's like wait, so what is this game about then if it's not about Hades because he's gone now?
Like I thought that
so interesting.
This game was going to be about just another of Guy's subordinate functions, and it was going to focus entirely on another one of Guy's
that's what I thought.
Functions.
Like, you barely really weren't like the storms and like all that. That was like a tiny little component to it. It was barely at all. That's what they sold the game as. This, and I was a little worried about that. I was like, okay, so another subordinate function, and it causes weather issues. Okay, cool, we'll deal with that. Like that's the whole thing. I'm like, no, that's like the first hour, bro.
Exactly.
And then you find out that there's people from another planet, but they're actually from Earth. They're 1,000 years old, and they're indestructible, and they're here to kill everyone. Yeah. And it's like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about?
And that's like 4 hours.
You're like 4 hours into the game. And there's this moment of like where your jaw drops, and you're like, wait, what? This is so early in the game. This feels like an end game moment, and you realize that this is what the game's about. And you're like, holy shit! What?
It was crazy. Like when you're in the Hades proving lab, and you're just like, you don't know what's you talking. Who you talking to? Is Silence talks.
Silence,
when you're there. And he's like, these people are coming. You know, once they see you're a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, you know, you'll be fine. And then it's like, who are these people? And I was expecting it to just be like this another tribe that's like, you know, enthusiastic about, you know, Elizabeth Sobek or about, you know, the ancestors, as the Quen put it. But it wasn't. It was these fucking like sci-fi looking like fucking people with like these reflective shields and like crazy like sci-fi like armor on. I can't even explain the design of the Zeniths. It is just so like unique. They look really like cool, something from Destiny to an extent.
Yeah, I really loved how like they looked so out of place at a lot of points. Like I thought that was like a really good decision. Like they don't gel with the world at all.
Yeah,
in a
because
lot of ways.
They've been away from the world for 1,000 years, so it just shows
they just look
how
so
distant they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that a lot about it, and I thought it was really cool. There was a moment, like, talking about the Hades Proving Lab, there was a really cool moment, and it adds into Aloy's arc that I thought was cool, is where there's a little message in there that you can, like, not a message, like a recording of Elizabeth doing research with, what's the guy's name? Travis Tate?
Yeah.
And it's where, like, he's proposing, like, a party or whatever, like, to celebrate what they're doing, and Elizabeth just sort of shuts him down and leaves. And Aloy's a bit confused as to, like, why she would do that, and, so, like, Silence basically sort of, like, explains in like a roundabout way, like that, you know, Elizabeth was very concerned with saving the world, but she didn't seem to care too much for the people in it, which was like a weird thing. Like you see this new side to Elizabeth, and you sort of see that Aloy's chasing that, but it's like in direct contradiction to who she actually is, because Aloy isn't like Elizabeth directly. Like Aloy very much cares about every person she meets. She's like, that's her core character trait, is she just connects with everyone
as long as they're
easily.
Respectful to her, she'll return that respect
back.
Exactly,
and that's what we see in Beta as well.
And that's the thing,
it's a totally
like,
different character as well.
Yeah, and I love like the relationship
Beta
between
was so
Aloy
annoying
and Beta.
at the beginning. Like when
she
you
got
first,
good. She sucked.
She did get good. Yeah, she.
But I mean, what I liked early on was that, I mean, obviously she'd been through so much. Like, she was never going to be like Aloy. And I liked that they represented that. But I also really liked seeing Aloy's frustration with it, because it showed that she didn't understand. Like, she couldn't comprehend why a clone of herself, pretty much, didn't have that same spark and same drive to want to do what was right. She just couldn't understand
we're both
why.
Pieces of Elizabeth. Why am I this
Exactly,
hero and Beta's just this fucking beta bitch that sits there?
Exactly.
Crying?
And because in her head as well, she's like, yeah, exactly. But Aloy, like, in her head, she's like, well, both of us were outcasts. Like, both of us didn't get to interact with a lot of people. And, like, when it dawns on her that, like, the main reason was because of Rost.
Oh, how good's that, dude?
Like, his
so good.
being a father
Rost
to
into
Aloy.
it?
Oh, my God. That was such a moment. That to, like, unite both Aloy and Beta together, it was just, just absolutely such a
It was like a
killer
big
moment.
sister moment. And the fact they start calling each other sister at the end. I
Oh,
was like,
that
that's
moment.
That was nice.
That
That's
moment
so
to
cool.
Tilda where she's like, that's between me and my sister. I was like, I didn't expect her to say that, but I'm like, they are sisters. Like, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like, for to have that relationship, it was really good.
They're two completely different pieces of Elizabeth Sobek that have found each other thousands of years after the calamity.
Yeah.
It's just it's so
It's brilliant.
fucking cool. It's so cool.
Yeah. No more clones, though. That needs to be it. I
Yeah,
don't want
no.
to.
Yeah, no more. Don't do a third one. Like, it
It's
worked
like,
here. We don't need
this
it
other
again.
company is without her knowledge has taken Elizabeth Sobek's DNA.
She's back again. There's another
what
one.
I noticed is there's a lot of people that did stuff under Elizabeth Sobek's nose, like taking Apollo, like copies of Apollo and stuff, and like just fucking around.
I
And,
know.
like,
Loads of
creating,
people
like,
fucked
little
with her.
facilities without her knowledge and stuff like that. It's like so many people were trying to do her in. None more than Ted Farrow, though, the absolute bastard himself.
And that's the thing, like, this game gave us so much more insight into not just new things, but also Zero Dawn as well. Like, we got so much more Zero Dawn information in this, learning about, like, exactly what went into that, and the people that went into that, and all of those aspects, like, as you're, going through these sub-functions, and you talk to Gaia and stuff. And that was really cool. Like,
Gaia was
stuff,
also a
like
great character.
Operation Enduring Victory.
The dialogue between
yeah.
fucking Gaia and Aloy is some of the best in the game. It's
So
so
good.
fucking good. Oh, I long for those moments in between main story missions where you go back to the base and speak to Gaia. It was just so insightful and interesting. Like,
it was amazing. It was amazing. It's like they looked at, like, people liked that, like, the cyan aspect of Frozen Wilds, where you have that big, long, like, there's so many dialogue options, and they were like, let's just do that lots in Forbidden West.
Yeah, and I loved every
It's
second
amazing.
of it. I exhausted every single dialogue option.
Yeah, so did I.
Every time. It was, so good.
Yeah, and I never got bored of it. Never. Like, every
did I.
single time I was like, I just want to know more. Like, give me more information. I'm so invested in this world.
Yeah.
And it was, brilliant.
In particular, I really like the I like the scene where you're speaking to Hades at the beginning. It's like it's kind of like weird. It's like you're talking to Hades and he's clearly in a bad way. Like Silence has fucked him up. Like his like memory core, whatever the fuck it is like he can't remember anything because Silence has like blocked all the information off. And it's just like this character that was the main villain from the first game is now just this disheveled like core from this what are they called again? Horus, is that what they're called? The big things with the tentacles. The big robots.
Yeah.
Horus.
Are they called Horus? Yeah,
Something like
so.
that. Yeah, he's just in this core, and it's like you're trying to get information out of him, but he's so fucked up because Silence is like out his way with him. I really like that scene. It's just kind of like creepy. It's like this AI that's just barely hanging on to life, but still has this like huge hatred for the world because that's obviously what he was designed for.
That's the point. Yeah.
Very good
that
scene.
was really
I like that a
cool.
lot.
Yeah, that was great. And I also really liked, like, Silence and Aloy's relationship over the course of the game. Silence wasn't a hugely prominent character, but I think every time he did show up, they did something meaningful with him, because I think you see their first conversation, not their first one, but the first one after you kill Hades, you have that conversation outside the Hades Proving Lab where you can see that, like, he's not totally in control anymore of Aloy. It feels like Aloy's kind of shifted that power balance between them.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously at the end of that sequence, she just destroys the focus, and you literally don't see him again until the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because, like, Aloy doesn't need him anymore. And I think, like, there's that, because, like, Silence had so much control over Aloy for all of Zero Dawn. Like, he was always the one, like, one step ahead of her.
Yeah.
But then you get to this game, and Aloy's kind of switched that. Like, no longer does does she need Silence? But Silence does need her.
Yeah.
And you kind of reach that end point where, like, you know, obviously we're sort of jumping around a little bit here, but just their arc together I thought was really good. Like the way that Silence, because they set him up in that post-credit scene, you think like, oh, he's going to be the big main villain, he has secret plans, but like, no, he's the same guy he's always been. Like, he might be a bit selfish in some ways, but he doesn't want the world to end. Like, that's why he helped Aloy defeat Hades, that's why he helps Aloy defeat the Zeniths, and you know, that's why ultimately at the very end he decides not to leave on the ship and to stay and help, because he's inspired by Aloy in the end. Yeah. Because, like, you know,
because he looked
she's
up to
proved
Elizabeth
time and time again, like, exactly, yeah, because
like,
he sees
in
her
the
as
first
like
game, like, she's a genius. Like, in the first game when he's explaining Zero Dawn to Aloy, he does speak very highly of Elizabeth Sobek, and now Aloy is almost, like, not better, but she's achieved more.
She is better.
Well, I didn't mean better. I didn't mean better in terms of like more intelligent, but yeah, she's better in terms of she's carved more of a legacy in the world now based on what she's done than Elizabeth ever did.
And
cool.
it's like she has now taken on that role that's like inspired Silence.
Yeah.
So where he's like, he realizes like, yeah, you know what, Aloy knows what she's doing, and like it's worth putting my faith in her. And I think that was like a really good moment, because Silence is somewhat of like an anti-hero, because like he doesn't have the most like, you know, heroic intentions. Like his reasoning for doing things isn't to like, you know, help people, but he's also not a bad person. Like he's not evil, he's not an antagonist. And I really like that about Silence, and I think they stayed true to that in this game, and I think they did really good by that character. And I think, you know, having him in the end decide to join and stick around to fight this potentially unstoppable threat was like just a really good character moment. I think it was so good.
It was so cool. It was like, wait, Silence is like giving up the knowledge of Apollo to fucking stay on Earth with Aloy and the team. It's like, what?
it was great.
Cool.
It was so great. I loved it.
It was cool to find out that Apollo wasn't completely lost either, because I thought Apollo was quite an interesting sub-function from Gaia, and who knows it, you know, what's going to happen if they do get their hands on Apollo and learn more about the old ones, because I mean, surely that would mean like all the mystery is basically gone at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You can dispel all of the mystery when you have Apollo.
Yeah.
Because it's everything. It's all of human history. So that's like a very interesting, you know, integral plot point now that they do have access to Apollo.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see where they go with that.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, 100%. I've got a couple of questions for you guys, just so we can sort of cover as much as we can cover without literally going through every detail of the whole fucking game.
We could be here for
we'd be here
hours and hours and
we
hours.
could be here for 5 hours. Tell me about your experiences with, especially for this game, with when you start playing it. And I will say, probably the first 5 hours, I'm like, man, it's really nice to be back in the world of... not even the first 5 hours. I say maybe the first 2 hours. I'm like, this does feel very much just like I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn again. In a great way, right? Like, the graphics are incredible. We're continuing on the story. This is really cool. Like, it's really cool. But, I mean, it feels like I'm playing pretty much the same game, you know, with a few improvements.
Yeah.
But very quickly, the game opens up. And you start to realize, holy shit, there is so much to this game. And this game, to me, and I think the best games of all time do what this game did. And it's they get better the longer you play it.
Yeah.
Like they continue to get better all the way until the ending. It's just getting better and better and better. Only the best games of all time can do that from start to finish. This game does that start from finish. I'm talking the God of Wars. I'm talking the Red Dead Redemption 2s and 1. I really think the way this game's paced... You keep adding, not just in terms of gameplay, but also... Well, not just in terms of story, but also gameplay. Also the world. Everything.
All of the things keep building on each other. You add new systems, you add new stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. What were your experiences with that aspect of the game, and like as it opened up? What are your thoughts there? Do you agree that it does, or did you feel like there may have been different lols, or what are your thoughts on that side of things? Whoever can.
Who's going first?
Oh, sorry, I was taking a drink. Yeah, sorry. I think it does definitely. It does it in a way where
fucking forehead's bleeding. I scratched my forehead and it's bleeding.
Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Okay. I think that this game definitely does that where you continue to add more, like up until right at the very end, like you're still adding new stuff because you end up with the Sun Wing right at the end of the game, and like that's a brand new gameplay element that completely changes the way you traverse the world. I think it does it very well, and like in a way that, you know, elevates it from Zero Dawn in the way that the world is built, because you have these certain places, you know, you can't visit until you get certain upgrades, like the Fire Gleam Igniter, the Underwater Breather, you've got like the Metal Flowers and stuff, so you know it gives you a reason to then go back to places you couldn't enter before and explore and see what you can find, and I think that just adds a lot more depth to sort of your own experience going through the world, because it means you're constantly everything just everything gets better and better and better and better until the end. It's something that just makes the game a lot more engaging, rather than at the very beginning deciding, you know, we'll spend like an Assassin's Creed, even as good as those old ones were, they do tend to give you everything in the first hour, and then it's sort of the same thing for the rest of the game. Like they give you everything right at the beginning, and don't, like, you know, let it slowly come in. And I think Horizon does that as well with how it lets you navigate the world. Like
and it takes it slow and paces it out really nicely.
Funnels you through. Like you start off in the Daunt, and it's sort of like, you know, it's Karja Osram territory,
it
still
feels
part
very
of the Sundom.
familiar.
Yeah, and then you get funneled out into No Man's Land, and that's like where the world opens up. But then there's a whole other bit, you know, you play through this and like you spend a good amount of time in No Man's Land, you're doing main quest, side stuff, and then it opens out into Tanakh territory, and that's where like you truly get the Forbidden West that just sort of goes all the way out to the coast with San Francisco. And it's like the way that it doesn't just start you and go, right, you can go anywhere you want. I miss when games used to be, you know, unlock parts of the map because of story, like the old GTA games where you started on one island, you could play the story, and then you go to another island. Or you look at Red Dead, like you don't just go straight to Mexico or straight to, you know, West Elizabeth. You start in New Austin, you do all the stuff there, and then the story takes you to Mexico, and then the story takes you to West Elizabeth.
I'm back.
So I like that about like those sorts of games, and I think, you know, Forbidden West really does that. And I think it's to the like it really helps the game in terms of structuring and, you know, all of that stuff.
What we're talking about? We're talking about the game's biomes.
Just generally about like the way it adds, like the game keeps adding as you keep going, sort of thing.
Oh yeah. I have an interesting question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on, Tyler.
Yeah. Go. No. What's your question?
Oh, I was gonna say, out of the 3 quests where you go and get the different subordinate functions, so the one from Memorial Grove, one from the ruins of Las Vegas, and one from the what's that building called? Fuck.
It's the Pharaoh facility. I forget the greenhouse.
The greenhouse.
Yeah.
Which one of those was your favorite?
Oh, that was a great point. Great question. I did want to delve into that side of things, but just before like we move on to that, on the just sort of the way the world flowed out, and the way the world opens up, you feel like one extra element it does is it perfectly aligns with the story as well, like with as it paces out and gives you more tools, as it gives you more information, as you can see and do more, and obviously you're leveling up your character with weapons and all that cool shit. The other thing it's doing with the story is also giving Aloy such character development that it lines up so well and it fits so well that Aloy can fly these fucking things by the end, and that's such a cool element. You only get right at the end, but it also adds, they use it in the story to a point where she's like a fucking god. She's like a fucking true hero to the whole world. She's like a superhero, and it feels like the game and the way it opens you up and the way the world views you, it's just quite unbelievable.
You flew on the wings of the 10.
And but also the what it does with those tribes and stuff, like Forbidden West in the marketing, you just think that's just some. I was a bit worried. I'm like, is this gonna be kind of boring because you've got this tribe with a bunch of evil people that all hate you and just want to kill you, and that's it? But no, there's so many interesting tribes. The Tanakh are awesome. Their history,
so cool.
the different,
Yeah,
their lore, their like different segments of the tribe, like the Sky Clan and all that stuff, like, and the way they all lived in different areas. I'm like, I love it all. I love how much we got to explore.
It's insane how much depth they give to like all of the backstory. Like you look at the Bulwark and you look at like the wall that's there, and like like there's even lore as to like why there's a big like wall of rocks, and like Aloy uses that to like destroy it in the quest so that she can like, you know, get to send them to the cool route and everything. It's just like that.
So cool.
It's there's so much depth to literally everything. Like I can't imagine like these writers and this like lore team sitting around and coming up with all of these intricacies, because there is so much to it. Because not only do you have to think about, you know, what is this clan, what are their beliefs, you know, what are their gods, what are their values, what is their history. You got to think about how does that tie into the old ones, and what is the history behind that, and like how does that integrate itself into like the history of this clan, and like how do you warp that to be like, you know, mystical and stuff. It's so creative. It blows me away every time they do it.
Not to mention, like, you've got all of the Tenakth, and then you've also got the Quen as well, which is like they go into a decent amount of detail with the Quen about what it's like on their homeland, you know, the Empire, the Diviners,
Empire,
all of that stuff. Like,
it's so good,
really well, and how they've got the overseers that sort of like select which information is allowed to be shown to the public and whatnot. And it's like, we know all this about the Quen, and yet we've never seen their homeland at all. Like, and we probably never will. It's fucking, it's crazy.
It's really, really cool, like how they give so much depth to all of these different clans and all. Because, you know, I thought like after having so much depth with the Nora, the Banuk, the Oseram, and the Kaja, that there's no way you can outdo that and do that again and do something more. But like they did, and like it all feels not just like new, but it feels part of Horizon. It doesn't feel like it's come out of nowhere. And I love that. I think it's brilliant.
Like, now we've got the Kaja, Nora, Oseram, Banuk, Tenakth, Quen, and Utaru, and they just all like go well together. Like, it's just this huge diverse array of cultures, and it really shows like how, if this situation were to happen, loads of humans would interpret things in their own way, and loads of cultures and subcultures would stem as
just
a result
like
of it.
It's just like real life that's happened with us. You know, exact same way. We just do it again in a new cycle with different, you know, they've got different information there in different places, but it also helps Aloy as a character, and it's a big part of her story in that there's all these different people with all these different cultures, all these different backgrounds, and Aloy can still connect with everyone. And she knows that she's not just fighting for the one tribe, she's fighting for all people. And there's so many, you know, different examples of that. And as well, like the game made me love all the tribes that were here, but it also made me be like at times I'm like, man, I want to go back and see Nora Land, and like I want to feel.
Oh, dude,
you know what I mean? Didn't you just think?
I would have loved
to
go
like,
back
to
Mother's
I
Heart.
could talk. Exactly. Just like I want Aloy to get to experience that, to go home again. Not that it's home necessarily, but you know what I mean. Like of just the way they view her in Meridian and all that stuff, and I love they had that at the start. You know, the original.
Oh yeah,
that was cool.
The bit where you go to Meridian at the beginning, it was very much to me like returning to Montergione. And
exactly. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, just returning to that place. Like when the music started playing, the main theme.
Yeah, the Meridian theme. Oh,
it was so good.
I sat there and I was like, these composers.
Oh, I can't believe they're doing this. I didn't expect it at all.
Oh,
it was just so good. It's amazing. Like seeing Sun King Avad, and also they do like there's the prince that you save from Sunfall in that side quest. Like he's there, and it's like that's just such a cool little payoff.
And the woman that you speak to, I've forgotten their names.
Yeah. I forget their names.
From side quests in Zero Dawn, and those two are really cool characters. So
yeah, it's just so cool. It's so cool, and I like that this game did I like that it did enough nods to Zero Dawn without feeling like they had to include every single Zero Dawn character. Like they were somehow in the Forbidden West. Like there's so many that are omitted because it wouldn't have made sense, and I like that about it. Like it just makes it feel so much more real.
Yeah, it does. It does. Who's that Oseram woman that you do that you do in Horizon Zero Dawn? I was gonna say then.
She comes and fights with you at the end of Zero Dawn, right? Like she's one of the side quests
she's the one that supplies you with the grenade launcher things that you smash about with the Meridian when the destroyers are coming your way.
And you see it right at the start at Chainscrape.
You mean Petra?
Yeah, Petra. I love Petra.
Yeah, she's really cool. When I saw her, I was like, "Oh shit, it's her!" Like, it was just really cool. Like, it made me realize how many characters I actually really did connect with in Zero Dawn. Because I was like, it was weird. Like, I recognized her. I was like, "Oh, I fucking recognize her." I remember seeing her in Zero Dawn. It was just like really nice to have that moment, and like the side quest line you have with Talana as well. They obviously met at the Hunter's Lodge in Zero Dawn. Is really cool.
Talana's in Forbidden West.
What, have you not done it?
No, I haven't. I've only done the side quests. Where
she is in it,
I've only done the companion side quest because I was going to save the side quest for after. But that's so cool. I love Talana.
Oh yeah, she is. She is.
She was fucking great. She was one of my favorite side characters from Zero Dawn because the hunting lodge quest line is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that was really it was really cool to see her again and stuff. And like, there's a little note you can find that I found while I was doing that quest with Talana. There's a little note where you read through it and it's called like "What a Damn Shame." And you read through it, and you realise that it's clearly a note that's been left by, I forget the guy's name, but it's that Oseram guy from the Frozen Wilds that you meet in the dam, in the broken dam at the beginning, that like you have to go through.
What, the
and,
first
like,
guy you talked
he's trying to find. He's
chilling
he's
with
like
the
in
Banuk
that.
and he's like studying and whatever. Or he's trying to.
He's
not studying.
He's like
no,
trapped in the
he's
dam
with
or
them.
something, and you help him
I've
get
never
out.
Oh no,
the
yeah,
Frozen
no,
Wilds
I know
hair.
the guy. I know the guy you're talking. That guy, I fucking love.
He
that
sounds
dude.
like Nolan North, but it's not Nolan North.
That mission was like
Yeah.
an Uncharted mission. I fucking loved that mission. It was
Yeah.
that guy. I love him. He was such
And
a
like you
wholesome
can tell the note was definitely written by him. By like what he alludes to and stuff, because he talks about like a redhead Nora that helped him get out of the dam once. It's like that's really cool.
That's
so he's somewhere in the
fucking
Forbidden
cool.
West, but I'm yet to like actually find him as a person. I don't know if he's actually there, like you can actually find him, but
God,
he's out there
It'd be
somewhere.
a long way away from the Banuk lands. That's fucking like the opposite direction.
Yeah, he's really traveled a long way, but like that was just really cool as well. Like the little references to different people and like different people appearing. It was nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
There was so much to the open world and so much that I'm sure I still haven't platinumed the game or anything yet. Like I'm just doing a bit of roaming around now while we're talking, just discovering locations and just faffing about, because I just wanted to, while we talked about it, to feel the game, feel the vibe.
Yeah.
You know, just to make sure I'm taking some of the emotions it gave me as well. But George, you brought up a big chunk of the game. I feel like the second act of this game is you set up your base and you go around the world to various locations to find 3 of the subordinate functions. And it gives you these 3 very unique set piece missions. The first, you can do them in any order you want, but they sort of go up in level, so it sort of wants you to do them in a certain order. So the first being the lowest level one, which is where you meet Katalo and you really start...
Shifakaro.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That whole
really get involved
storyline where with the
Tanakh,
Tanakh, then you start to get to know them a bit. And, you know, you deal with the Sky Clan. In the end, you bring Katalo. There's a big battle, then you bring Katalo to the base. The second one being in Las Vegas in the desert.
That one's
where
so good.
Where you meet, it's Morland, is that right?
Morland,
the Oseram guys.
The Oseram guys, who I think, I'm going to be honest, they're my favourite characters in the game.
I'm
being honest with you,
I love them.
They're just so
fucking
chill.
love all 3 of them for different, like they're all 3 just awesome characters that aren't a part of your crew or anything, but I'm like, I'd adore to see them in like the next game and them have like they have a big side quest arc where you set up some new venture for them, and
man,
they have to be in the next game. They was just so amazing.
They were very good characters.
And then you've got the greenhouse, which is where you meet Alva for the first time and introduced to her.
Also a very good one.
Amazing character,
really,
and that's
cool.
a really interesting one. It felt very like Last of Us sort of vibes at the start, when the vibe I got was like Ellie in Last of Us Part 2 with those fucking whistle people.
Oh yeah, because you like come across the Quen guys and they just sort of attack you.
I don't know, it just gave me very like...
Yeah, you're like in this forest and you just get attacked by these people that you don't know. Yeah,
and you feel very alone and isolated. Like that's the sort of tone it gave me. You asked what was the favourites. Mine was Las Vegas, and it was Las Vegas by a fucking country mile. I thought that set piece we're not just discovering
Yeah, I'm
Vegas,
with
this
you.
ancient desert. I was sort of like the idea of it, like, oh, Las Vegas. I'm like, oh, I guess, like, got a bit of a desert. There'll just be a ruined city, whatever. I want to see San Francisco. That's what looks way cooler. But then you get there, you start exploring. You meet Morland and the boys, and you're just what are the other names? Stemma.
I actually don't remember.
What are we talking about? The guy
The Stemma's the one you give the relics to, which that's a great side activity arc.
Fuck, I haven't done many of those. I've collected one singular relic and then not done any of the other ones. So,
but you know what they do? Do you know what the relics
I did
do?
them all.
No, I have no idea.
Oh, dude! So they connect with Stemma in Vegas, and they give you different light shows.
Ah, that's cool
Yeah,
as
it's
fuck.
really cool.
Yeah, dude,
really
it's
cool.
fucking
for
sick.
different holidays and stuff
Yeah.
like Christmas. You got
That is cool.
Easter and
Halloween,
stuff like
New
that.
Year's,
Yeah.
Chinese New Year.
Yeah,
There's a lot of cool ones. There's a lot
from like a
cool
bunch
ones.
of different cultures too. It's really cool.
But like that quest going down into the into the ruins of Las Vegas. Like again,
when
as
you go
said,
underneath,
the surface level stuff is like you just see the ruins and it's like, oh, it's just shit. It's just like fucking shitty ruins. Like, how are they gonna make this anything cool?
And then you get this underwater sequence like that is so fucking awesome. Like
So
the lights
good.
in there, and then they turn this sort of desert ruin into this awesome location that you want to constantly go back to see these characters. There's a full Ossurum like settlement building there now. It's like a theme park. It's Vegas. You know what I mean? You go there for a
like,
show.
They bring Vegas back, and I like that it
Yeah.
ties into like the little story you learn as you're delving through the underwater about Stanley Chen, the guy that
Stanley
brought Vegas
Chen,
back.
yeah.
When it was gonna be like, you know, it was sort of in ruin. It was gonna like be abandoned, and he just like put everything into it and brought it back because he was so passionate about it. And like
Yeah.
that idea that like he was gonna shut everything down, but he decided not to in the end because he's like, someone in the future might find it and maybe it'll become a thing again. And like that idea of like continuing that legacy of like, you know, for Moreland, he really, really is passionate about this and he wants to bring
Yeah.
Vegas back. Like it's just really, really nice to see that, and like it just
It's
all comes
so
together. It's really
beautiful.
cool.
Like, it is such a
Yeah.
fucking beautiful little story. Like, oh, it's amazing. It's so
Yeah.
amazing.
That was my
really
favorite.
is.
Is that what are your favorites of those three?
Yeah,
That's my
definitely.
favorite.
That's
yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah,
my
for sure.
favorite. Don't get me wrong. Like, I
blew
love
me away.
Memorial Grove and like the Kulrut and stuff like that. I thought that was a really cool
Yeah.
insight into the Tanakh. And I
I
love
love
the
them
one where you
all,
go to
but-
the greenhouse. Like, they're all so unique in their own way, and because they take place in different parts of the map, they do feel really different. But just the Vegas one was just like that whole underwater section. They don't rush it. They don't have you drain it instantly. It's like you basically swim around the ruins of the New Vegas Strip, sort of exploring until you then drain it, kill that boss, and then you actually activate the lights. And that's when shit. That moment. It's just so beautiful when you walk out. And I thought, like, you know, when you like in the underground bit and it's like the lights are all on, it's like, that's just going to be it. And then you come out of the ruins into the actual desert and the lights are all on
Yeah.
in Vegas, and it's just like, it looks fucking beautiful. And then for the rest of
So
the game,
good.
those lights are always on, like whenever you go by there, and it's just
It's just
Yeah.
the
beautiful. It
only...
just shows the
So
effect that
good.
Aloy has on the people around her and the places that she goes
And it
to.
shows like why she's doing this too. Like, you know, seeing that is like this moment for her where she sort of realizes like, this is why I'm trying to save the world, because
Yeah.
this is so special. Like, people are so special.
Yeah.
And like there's that clear moment there, and I think it's just really meaningful.
Yeah, like, oh, dude, I was in awe. That I just can't wait to replay the game so I can play that whole mission again. It was so fucking
it was
good.
the only mission in the game that when I finished, I was like, I don't want to leave. I'm
Yeah.
not done with these, like, Moreland and these characters we've
Yeah,
just met.
man.
Do you know what else I want to say, just quietly? Maybe it's just me that thought this.
Okay.
Moreland was the only character that I've met throughout the whole of Horizon games where I'm like, I ship him and Aloy. There's something about it. There was something about it. There was something. I'm being honest. There was a chemistry and a connection there that I've never seen Aloy treat a person like she treated Moreland. Like,
Well, they were both
she
sort of
seemed
passionate about.
like she loved his passion.
Yeah.
And you could tell there was this like connection that they had in that way, and they had a shared passion for the
Although
world.
I do ship Aloy and Aaron more so, because Aaron's my boy, and if he
Oh,
gets caught,
I don't
I
at
don't.
all.
I don't at all. I don't.
They're
at all.
clearly just
just
like
friends.
they're
He's-
like
why-
best
why are
friends.
they
like,
arm in
so
arm
far
at the
in
end
the
of the fucking game? Then they're the only two people right at the end that are holding each other in that final shot.
Well, they're great friends, and they've been through a lot together. And Aaron definitely loves her.
He does.
100%.
It feels
I'm-
almost like it's like a big brother thing. Like Aloy lost Rost and Aaron lost Ursa, and so it's kind of like this sibling thing to me. I feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
he's
not
like a
saying-
big
I'm
brother.
not
No, I
saying
feel
that
like
I want
Aaron fucking
Aloy and
loves
Aaron
the shit out of
to be
Aloy.
together, but I just think he's the only character where it would make sense because they've known each other for so long. Like I don't think Sun
that's
King
lame.
Avad.
Nah,
is
I
he,
don't
is
think
he
so.
gonna
I'd
get
love
with-
it to be someone
It's not going to be
obscure.
Sun King. I mean, I don't think Aloy's going to end up with anyone.
Yeah,
I
she
just don't
doesn't
need
need
that
it.
time
It's not
person.
important.
She doesn't have
It's not
time
important.
for it.
No.
It's not important
Yeah,
to the
no.
story also at all. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not something I've ever thought about because I don't care for that. Like
Yeah,
the Sun King
Aloy's
romance
not
thing, I'm
a
like, it makes
character
me
to
just
sort of-
gross.
Yeah,
but
imagine
I just-
Aloy getting with Sun King of
Sun-
Avad.
Yeah, like it's just never going to happen. Like he's got no chance. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous him talking about himself. Like, I was uncomfortable. I was like, dude, you fucking fuck off.
Yeah,
I like
every
they
time
carried
I
that
shut
over
him
though
down-
from Zero Dawn because like he did have like that interest in Aloy. I like that like they didn't just forget about it. Like that
Yeah.
they still had that like he's still into her. Like he's still trying. Like he really does. You know, have a thing for her. I thought that was quite
special
nice.
hat at the beginning of the game. The special
Yeah.
head.
Yeah,
But-
and the new
but-
spear.
But to be fair, I just really, there was something about Morland and her that I was just like, and it was the first time that I'd ever thought about it. Where I was like, I can sort of see, I can see that happening. I can see these two, you know, it's what I mean.
It's
like
weird
if you,
for me to imagine anyone being romantically involved with Aloy because she's so detached from that. It's very odd.
Yeah.
but I feel
It'd
like
be
that's
nice
part
to
of the
see
point
her,
of this
like-
game is that she's become less detached to being above everything. That's
Yeah.
what this whole game's all about.
Well, yeah.
So I feel like that's just, it was just a part of it. Like I could see, I'm like, I could see Aloy having a bit of a crush on him. It
Honestly,
doesn't have to
yeah.
go anywhere. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? There'll always be that bit of a thing. You're like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
I always just thought Aloy was into women. Like that's just the vibe
really?
I got. I don't know. That's what I was. Well, also like it's confirmed in this game that Elizabeth and Tilda had a relationship. So like, does that carry over to Aloy? Is Aloy?
Well, if we've
Like-
learned anything, it's not the same necessarily.
Maybe it does. Maybe she
because
wants to
there's
shag
the
Tilda
same
as well.
Maybe that 0.3% that's different between Elizabeth and Aloy is just is the gay gene. You know?
It's the
Maybe
gay, it's the
Oh
gay
my
gene. Yeah,
God!
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
The
it could
gay
be that.
gene.
That's the
What
difference. That's why she couldn't get into the lab at the beginning because Gaia was like, "Well, Elizabeth's gay, so what's that? What's that about?
Yeah.
This can't be her."
Yeah,
That might be what it is.
that's true. Yeah.
Oh my
I
God,
don't know,
you can
but
start
yeah, I
bringing
mean,
up, like,
I-
electroshock therapy in the future.
I wouldn't be against them doing that with Aloy though. I feel like I don't know, it would work for me. I'd like, you know, they could do that if they wanted to go down that route. This game does a lot of
They could have
like
Aloy shag,
representation and stuff, so it wouldn't be out of
So?
character. I don't know. So they both.
It's like, this is for you, Val.
This is for you, Val.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah, Aloy
Oh,
probably
Jesus
isn't gonna get
Christ.
romantically involved with anyone. I think that's fine. It's a very big
Yeah,
trope
yeah.
in video games or just media in general to have a female character have a love interest just because it's female character. I think that's like a really common thing. It's like Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider games. For some reason she wants Jonah. Why does she fall in love with Jonah?
Does she?
I swear she does. They
I don't
like have a
remember.
little thing.
Those games
they have a
weren't
little
good.
thing. Well, yeah, they're pretty bad. yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
bad.
You know, I don't remember.
My favourite bow and arrow wielding character is definitely Aloy, not fucking Lara Croft. New
Oh my
Lara
God.
Croft. Absolute shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, subordinate functions, that's our favourite one. What else is there in this game?
There's so fucking much in this game.
like we talked about the tall necks and stuff last episode and how they're all sort of different, which we all really appreciated.
Okay, well let's move on then with the main story to talk about. Cause we talked about the base. We've talked a little bit about Beta and Aloy's relationship. Let's talk about the Thebes mission, where you go to get a mega clearance, and you have
Oh,
to head
that
into
mission's
Ted
so good.
Pharaoh's bunker.
Yeah. Is Tyler still here? You still here, Tyler? No, it's been an hour
He's
since
gone.
the last
He's
time
disconnected.
He cut out.
Yep, it's been an hour, so he's
Yep.
disconnected.
It's 20 minutes past 1, so Tyler's gone.
Oh fuck. Well, that's annoying because now I can't properly segue into the next bit because Tyler won't know. So we've just got to
Exactly.
wait.
We have to wait for him to just fucking come back.
Here's a question though. What's your favorite outfit in the game?
Well,
Is there one that you like that stood out to you?
I used Nora Anointed for the entire game bar the last mission. The last mission I then used Nora Thunder Warrior with some face paint because I just think I'm a bit of a weirdo when it comes to outfits in video games. I will always use what's like lore or story appropriate. So it makes no sense for me to just change Aloy's outfit to like some Osserum fucking armor because it's like, why would she ever wear that? So it's really
me,
jarring,
like-
especially
I feel the exact same way as you, George.
Well, see, the way I played Zero Dawn was I made because the thing they do it's in this game and it was in Zero Dawn is like the NPCs comment on your attire depending on the area of the world that you're in, so like when I noticed it once when I was in the claim in Zero Dawn, one of the Austrian people were like, "Why are you dressed like that?" And so I was like, "Shit, Aloy, like I'm gonna like wear what is appropriate for the area of the world," and I sort of did the same in this, and I think. Changing from the default armor was quite easy because obviously the shield weave doesn't work anymore. And so I was like, that makes sense. So I'll get rid of that, and I'll
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Ethan has joined us. Ethan
Hello.
jumped on. He's joined with the Four Pillars are here.
He's here.
I'm here.
We're very, very
He's
far
in.
through this.
I know, but I'm here.
But you are here. We were just. I want to jump and get your thoughts, Ethan, on a few things, but we were just in the midst of sort of talking about outfits in the world and what we were sort of using and equipping. And I'm certainly with George in the sense of I am very story based in the way I do things. And I'm very visual as well. Like if it doesn't look like something,
If it doesn't look good.
but not just good. Like I wouldn't. Like the Tanakh armor, I'm like, why the fuck would Aloy wear a big Tanakh armor?
The only time
never
that I
do it-
used the Tanakh armor was during the cool route because Chief Hikaru gives you a set of martial armor, and I used it for that quest, and then I changed
that's
back
interesting.
afterwards.
That's
It's because
exactly,
I
yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
what's
Such-
wrong with me, but I have to use what's relevant in the story. So
I'm
I
with
used
ya.
Nora Anointed for the entire game, and then
Well,
the very last mission I used Nora Thunder Warrior because it was.
Well, like I was
battle.
saying, I wore like what made sense for the area of the world I was in. So every time I went
Yeah.
to a snowy area, I wore something that was like more bulky and like a bit more like had like some fur on it. If I
It's
went
like a
into like
Nora
the
sort of
desert,
set.
I'd put on like the Kaja outfit where like there's a lot more skin showing because you're in the fucking desert.
The Kaja Blazing outfit, is that what it's called?
Yeah, and when I was like in the woods, I put on like the Nora outfit from the very beginning of Zero Dawn and stuff
the
like that.
classic,
And
yeah.
but I ended up landing on the Kaja. I forget what it's called. Like it was some like hunter like
I know the one.
thing. It was like, but I dyed it black and yellow, and I was like, this looks really cool. And so I just like decided, you know what, that works. And what I thought was cool about like the whole shield weaver thing is, I don't know if you know, but there's an ability in the skill tree in the health bit that you can equip that means that you can do a temporary shield weave thing no matter
That's
what
the one
armor
that
you're
I have on
wearing.
right now. I always
Yeah,
use
so
that.
I used that for quite a lot of the game, and it just sort of felt cool because it's like she repurposed that, and that's just what I landed on, and it sort of worked.
I mean, to be fair to you, right, the Shield Weaver did imbalance taking damage in Horizon Zero Dawn a little bit because you had double the health just almost instantaneously.
True, it was pretty OP.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
for sure.
overpowered.
I
And
like
then
what they
did in this
Frozen
game.
Wilds did address that by having like these signals that would distort it so that it wouldn't work.
Oh, what those
But,
towers that you'd find around the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would distort. Well, yeah, in the Frozen Wilds specifically.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. However, I think I'm going to be honest with you. In Forbidden West, it would have been nice if towards the end of the game, especially, there was some armor where I thought, oh yeah, now I know, now I feel kind of godly. But,
yeah, I feel the same way. The game didn't have that, did it?
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's
I
always
loved
like an expectation.
I loved the Shield Weaver armor. I like that there was this is the correct armor to wear. I like that. I don't necessarily need to have that freedom of outfits. I don't mind being told by the game that this is the correct armor, but you've got to earn it. Like there's levels to the armor. Like I
There are
love
some-
the way The Witcher, like The Witcher 3, for example, does it, where like you can obviously there's different armor sets, but there's different levels to them, and they have similar things to this. But I just thought most of the armor sets sucked.
I just
really
love that-
didn't like the outfits.
I just love that I've rocked up late to this spoiler cast and we've been speaking about outfits. This is fucking brilliant. Oh man,
I was
need
doing it because
medical
Tyler cut
help.
out.
Yeah, we were going to talk
So
about
I was
the
just like
Thieves
filling the
section,
space. But
where
yeah, we
you
were.
know,
We
where
were
you
just
go
delving
to
into
the
that.
Ted
Oh,
Farrow's underground bunker.
is that how far you're up to?
That's
Yeah.
where we're at, yeah.
Oh fuck yeah! We've got. I came at a good. I've come at a good time. I
It is
mean,
a very
Yeah.
good bit to be
I mean,
fair.
there are some. There are some
We've been going all over the place. We've gone through.
I
Like,
missed the
well, we've
discussion
gone through
about
all the
Val's beard.
characters.
Then,
You've missed you've missed yeah. There's been a lot. There's been a lot.
yeah,
Well,
because
the first
Aloy
half
didn't
an hour
like
of the
Val's beard,
podcast.
and that makes Aloy a bit of a sad one to be.
Oh yeah, fucking this is the obligatory Sheps fucking roast of the episode. he fucking like put that on Twitter as if it was like some moment that shows Aloy being this like callous bitch, and it's like what? She's clearly fucking joking. Like,
Wait, what's this?
it's, you
Where
know,
she
when,
says about his beard.
yeah,
Yeah,
when
no,
she's
that-
like, "Oh, I've noticed
thought
your
she- I
beard,"
thought
and
she
he
was
was like,
joking,
"Sorry
but-
if my whiskers offend you," and then he's like, "I'll shave it," and then she's like, "Good," and it's like fair enough. The delivery of the line is a bit. It doesn't sound like she's joking,
it's a
but
bit
it's
shit.
clearly a joke from the developers. Like, it's maybe not a joke from Aloy, but it's a joke from the developers. That's like, oh, it's the classic trope. Look, women don't like beard. Like, it's just an innocent little moment, and Sheps put it on Twitter as if it was like this defining moment that shows Aloy as this awful character who's just boring and really cold and callous.
And
He
hates
hates
men.
her. Like, he fucking
It's
hates
pushing
her.
a woke SJW agenda. Trying to
Somebody
steal our
Aloy
freedoms.
hates all men, even though like so many supporting characters from both games are men, and she's perfectly fine with it.
Oh man.
Classic Sheps being a fucking idiot. So if Eddie or Sheps listen to this, that's the obligatory roast of one of you. All right, that's how
It's the
gotta be.
Conversations Hate segment of the Four Pillars
But it's fine
podcast.
because you'll invite me on your podcast again soon anyway. So it's not like
It's
it
sort of
affects
like
our
gave up with
relationship.
me, but that might be because you can never tell when I'm gonna wake up.
It's true. You just
Yeah,
don't
that's,
know.
that's fair. That is
You're
true.
in
Even I don't
stasis.
know. Even I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Like I can't stick to 24 hours, so it just shifts around the clock, and it's really. And I get it sorted out like a couple of days before we start recording a podcast, and then the night before, I just can't sleep, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's like pressing
do
wait
be
in
like that.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know why I said that, but
If I could press wait in Skyrim and have time just pass like that, I'd be a happy man. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Reality is
man.
much sadder.
Reality is often disappointing.
But
no,
yeah,
I
so
wish I could do that because I'm away from Monday until Friday at the very least, and I don't think I want to be. Some ends to do some work.
Beautiful. That's what we
Yeah.
love to hear.
What
That's
is
all-
happening?
I don't know.
say.
I'm
That's all I
sorry.
can say. Some
I
ends
just didn't
to
want to
do
leave
some
it there. I
work.
wanted to ask.
Okay, all right.
Let's
Look,
get back to
let's get back
to
on
the-
track.
Yeah, let's get back
So,
on track, please.
so we're talking about Thebes. So we're talking about the Thebes quest.
It's,
So
yeah, it
obviously
is 11:30, and I'm up in 6 hours.
we
from
still have to get
so-
through this, and then we have to
so-
talk about the ending, and
Yeah.
so we've got
let's
a bit.
get the fuck on with it. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So you need Omega clearance, obviously, to do the Gemini quest and to
Yeah.
deal with that. So we end up going to Thebes, heading into Ted Farrow's vault, which was alluded to in Horizon Zero Dawn. They talk about Thebes a little bit here and there. It's quite a mysterious
didn't know
place.
A lot of stuff is alluded
Um,
to in Zero Dawn, to be fair.
Yeah, pretty much everything in this
Like, you
game
got-
was in
weren't
a
the
data
Zeniths,
pad
like,
somewhere.
Wasn't
They
the
were,
Zeniths
yeah,
at least
yeah.
a concept alluded to in Zero Dawn in some way?
Yeah, there's some data pads about Far Zenith as a company. There's also, because we know that they had dealings with Elizabeth and Pharaoh on Zero Dawn, and also there's like obviously you learn all about the Odyssey and stuff, but it was said that it blew up, which is why Aloy knows that at the beginning of Forbidden West. But yeah, so we learned a little bit about Thebes in Zero Dawn about like that it was Ted Pharaoh's final bunker or whatever for when the end came. But actually going to visit it was like really fucking cool. Like when they brought it
Yeah.
up, I was like, "Oh shit, this is sick!" Like we're actually gonna see this. Like we're gonna see what happened to Ted Pharaoh. And I like that this quest is sort of a
It's very mysterious
it's-
almost when you go in.
It's yeah, and I like that
Data pads all
it's-
over. They sort of tell a story. It's
They do, and I think it's this cool moment where it's not necessarily a quest that's directly connected to Forbidden West. It's more of this like ode to Zero Dawn, sort of like a conclusion to the Ted Faro storyline in Zero Dawn, more than it is a sort of part of the Forbidden West story. And I quite like that, the way they take some time to just step out of the Forbidden West main story that we're in and go, let's have this quest that explores something we never really got wrapped up in Zero Dawn. And I thought that was really cool.
And also adds to the
quest.
characters that are now being introduced with the Quen in Forbidden West. Who I loved that whole mission segment with the dude that thought he was the second coming of Ted Faro and the way they saw him as a god and everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh my fucking...
And his name was CEO.
So wrong.
His name was
CEO.
Well.
Yeah.
That was
CEO.
brilliant. Yeah.
And that was like
So
that was
funny.
kind of clever. And
That was very clever.
Yeah, no, and I think my favorite thing about that quest is like all the mysterious audio data pads where you get these like parts of the story where you realise how fucked up this place was. Like it was Ted Faro had what was it like? It's almost like a brain self-destruct chip or a heart self-destruct chip implanted on like everyone who he bunked down with for some reason.
Yeah. And he was like being this weird like leader, like this like this.
He went on full on fucking Charles Manson basically.
He went crazy. Anyone who
mental.
disagreed with him, he just killed or like had killed. It was fucking
Yeah.
mental. Very creepy, like the voice notes where it's Ted talking like to himself.
It's like a heavy breathing
creepy.
pervert. He's like, had to kill another one today.
It's like, and it's just like it just shows how his mind broke after what happened with Operation Enduring Victory and the execution of Zero Dawn and stuff like that. Like, he never was, the same person ever again. Really, he's crazy. And then obviously you have
He's a nutter.
going
He's a
through
fucking
the
nutter.
actual ruins of Thebes, and you have that room that you come out into where there's that huge statue of Ted Faro and the gold lining the walls and stuff, and
The
you fight
Egyptian
some
architecture and
corruptors.
stuff was cool.
Fighting the corruptors was a nice throwback to Zero Dawn,
Yeah, that was
because
cool.
that's the only point that corruptors show up in the game. I really liked that.
I kind of like that corruptors don't show up anywhere else in this one.
Well, yeah, they are annoying.
Yeah, I
and there was
love
no
that.
need for them to come back. There was, you
I
see
love
No need
that
to
they-
keep
around the
fighting
world.
corruptors. We had
They never had Deathbringers. Like they didn't force in stuff from Zero Dawn just because it was in Zero Dawn. Like they were
And,
like,
like,
it
you-
doesn't
you
make sense to have them
find-
here, so they're not here.
yeah.
You find ruined Deathbringers and ruined corruptors around the world still, but they're never active because obviously that whole Hades isn't controlling them anymore. So there's no way they could become operational again. But obviously you go down to that room in with Ted Faro's statue. You kill the corruptors and you make your way deeper into Thebes. You get Omega clearance, and then you realize, oh shit, Ted Faro is still alive.
Yeah.
1,000 years later.
Yeah, sort of. I suppose.
Barely.
Sort of, but he's a mangled sort of blob.
Yeah.
He's
It's like
he's
a Resident Evil
I love
villain.
that. Yeah, I love
but
that.
he's not, because he's got limited brain activity, which means that he's brain dead, but his body's still alive. It's just a bit fucked.
Yeah.
I just love that you
Fuck,
don't
like,
see him and
mutated.
it's all happens
Yeah,
off screen
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
and
So you
and
just use
I
your
imagine
imagination
that.
being like, I wonder how
Yeah.
fucking mangled he must be.
I was
And-
almost
and- like a monster.
disappointed. I've realised that it was for the best that we didn't see him, but I was almost disappointed in the moment because I was like, I really want to, like, the noises that he's making and shit is just like, it sounds like this grotesque fucking like creature, and I'm kind of upset in the way that we didn't get to see it. But it's also good because it means your imagination can run wild and you can imagine how the mutations took shape over the course of 1,000 years. Like, what
Dead
could
that
that have
kid.
possibly looked like?
Yeah. Can you imagine the mental degrading of that as well? Like, how far was he cognitive in that sort of process? At what point did his brain go to minimal function so that he was no longer really?
Yeah, it's fucked
Alive.
up. Like, imagine that mutating over the course of 1,000 years. Nothing you can do about it. You just have to wait and watch while you become this disgusting monster. Oh,
Yeah, it's a pretty sad end for Ted Faro. Like,
it probably
it's
what he
despite him
deserves,
being
though.
an
Second
awful
of it.
person. It's like, God, what a way to go.
What a naughty fella! I
And
just
then
love
just
the bad
watching
guy.
CEO die, like
just love
just
the
a
reaction
horrible,
first.
horrible, cowardly death.
I just
So
love the reaction to
satisfying.
it. I love the reaction to it
amazing.
first, where he walks in, and then he walks back out and goes, "Burn it."
Yeah, he's just not happy at all.
He's not chuffed. He's absolutely disappointed. To be fair,
He's
Yeah.
trying
Who
to
wouldn't
steal
be?
the essence of Ted Farrow when he's like, I've inherited his essence. It's sort of fucking
Oh my
crazy
God.
guy.
That
But yeah,
fucking
seeing him
guy.
die, get crushed by the Ted Farrow statue was a very fitting end to that
It was
bastard.
brilliant. Yeah.
He was insufferable.
And then
He
we
was
finally get
annoying.
Alva to join our crew, which was
Yeah, exactly.
That set
She
piece,
comes
And they
running
really
out,
gave her a
really
lot of
cool.
time until and she came a long way in just those few missions you had with her. Like, she's such a
Yeah.
great addition to the team. I just loved her character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I found her so irritating at first, and I was like, oh, God, it's going to be one of those annoying, nerdy, like, fucking comic relief characters. But she was really well done. Like, she starts off fair enough as this naive, like, diviner who's obsessed with, the legacy and whatnot. And then eventually, when you give her the new focus and she starts studying, she realizes, like, shit, like, with all this stuff that I've learned, there's no way I'm going to return back to Quen territory and go back to that life, because I've learned so much of the truth about the ancestors that if I were to go back to that life, would I be able to just set aside the truth and fold to the whims of the overseers? And it's like, it's such a good arc that she's got. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's like I said before, like the way that these characters don't just stay as they were. Like, as they start learning, they develop and change, and like you get
Yeah.
to see them. Like, they don't. So they're never annoying, because you never like have to deal with these close characters, but like they're idiots because they don't understand the world
Yeah.
the way Aloy does. But they all
Yeah.
start to understand it so quickly, and like so you never feel frustrated with them, because you're
Yeah.
like, wow, they're really learning. This is so cool,
It's
and they
very
will get that
cool.
treatment. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you needed it, because I think they realized that's why it was hard to connect with some of these side characters in Zero Dawn, because
Definitely.
it felt like they were just a bunch of fucking idiots, and they don't really. There's no way you can explain it to them. And in this, they really
Yeah.
brought a lot of people on the journey with Aloy, which was just fantastic. And I
Yeah,
feel
it was a
like
nice
with that pays
change.
off in what happens next when you have to go to the what's supposedly the final cauldron in Cauldron Gemini, where you've gathered everyone together, and you, including Beta, and you have to fucking take on. Well, you're getting a Festus, but you also end up having to take on a crazy amount of machines, and then the Zenith as well.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a crazy point of the story where Beta gets taken, and then of course Val dies, which is just such
Oh
a
my
like.
God.
And they set it up at the start when he goes, when Aloy goes, you need to protect her. He says, with my life. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna fucking die. I just know.
Oh
yeah,
my
I didn't
God.
think about it at that point,
No,
but then
neither
now
did
looking
I.
back, I
know.
that's the developer joke of, ha! This character's going to die.
Yeah,
Almost
they
screaming
literally-
at
I
me.
knew it
When
was-
look back. I
yeah.
can tell, but at the time, I didn't like. My mouth was wide open. I was like, I did not expect. Like, it was just such a ballsy move to like not only kill a main like Zero Dawn old character, but also one they'd spent so much effort in this game making.
I know.
One of the
Best
best
part of the
side
game.
characters.
Yeah.
Like. They do all of that legwork to make you love and care about Val, and then they just fucking kill him. It was
was
so
like,
I
rough.
feel
It
so
was
bad for Zoe
unceremonious.
as well. Like,
know.
But it did so much for
optional
her
dialogue-
character. Yeah.
It did, yeah. Like the optional dialogue with Zoe afterwards and stuff. Like Aloy and Zoe sort of connect a lot more after Val's death, because they have that grief in common, and it's just so beautiful, because it's like Zoe started off as this woman who was like, oh, for God's sake, like, who's coming into my Utaru tribe, like, trying to fucking ruin shit. And then in the end, she's like really good friends with Aloy, and they both, remember Val together. And she's pregnant. She's got Val's child.
Oh my
inside
God!
of
Yeah, I
her.
forgot about that.
See, I didn't really like. I was like, oh, of course they did. Like, you have that moment, and I'm like, they better not just make her pregnant or something, and then they do.
I
I'm like,
suppose it was
a bit of an eye.
beautiful.
I
It was a
like
bit of
it.
an eye roll moment for me. I was like, yeah, of course. she's
I
fucking
suppose I could
pregnant.
see the eye roll in it, because it almost defeats the point of the sacrifice as far as storytelling is concerned, because like, Val's
Exactly.
dead, but he's going to carry on in this giant.
Yeah,
You know?
he's-
I
I
like
is
guess,
big.
but
Yeah.
I like it.
shows-
It's kind of
it
like
shows
life
Val's
going
legacy.
on.
Yeah, you would like it too. You're just like the Star
But
Wars
it's like-
fan.
but it's also
Tatooine
like-
stormtroopers. It's good.
But it's like the whole Utaru thing of like planting the seeds and stuff
Yes,
too.
there you
Like
go, man.
life continues. Like from death comes life. It's so
No,
like
I
in keeping with
understand.
their rituals and stuff, and I like that.
I didn't know you were
And also like that whole moment where like they call back to Vala from the beginning of Zero Dawn, like obviously who died during the proving, and like they used the seeds for the flowers that she used to tie to her spear to like bury with Val. Oh, and like the way they're like
one of the first people in the Nora tribe that treated Aloy like she was a person.
I know.
As well.
Oh god, it's so
dude,
good. It's so good because not only did they send off Val, they also managed to like do something nice for Vala as well, and have like his grave looking out towards the Nora sacred lands in the east. It's so just perfect. Like such a moment. It's so good.
Oh, can you imagine how wounded Val's mum is gonna be? Like,
I know.
God,
Sona, she's not gonna be happy.
God.
Sona,
we need to go back surely to the Nora tribe.
We need to see it. Yeah.
It's like, Sona,
I would love to see that.
Apologies, your son's dead, and she's gonna be like, oh fuck.
She'll be like, what? What
I've
happened?
lost another one.
What happened? Well, it was about a year ago.
I would like to see the
no.
matriarchs again as well, like, and speak to Mother Teresa, because I thought Mother Teresa was a brilliant character. Is that her name? Isn't
Mother
it?
Teresa.
Her name is
Mother
Teresa, but I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's Mother Teresa.
It's
though.
not
Tirsa.
It's
Oh,
not
Tirsa, yeah,
Teresa,
it's Tirsa, yeah.
Mother
Mother
Teresa.
Oh my god, I don't think
entirely,
so.
mate.
I don't remember there being a Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, the famous
Shows up,
Horizon Zero
she's
Dawn
from
character.
Varzina. She's lived since the old ones. Right?
Classic
I
Mother
meant
Teresa.
Tirsa. What are the other two called? I forgot.
Lansra
Tirsa.
and
yes,
Lansra
Yeah,
and
Tirsa,
something
Lansra.
else.
I think it'd be cool to go back to the Sacred Lands at some point and chat to them, because I mean the last time we spoke to them properly was when they made Aloy a Death Seeker, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking ages.
It wasn't a Death Seeker, it was just a Seeker.
Oh, was it not?
Well,
Death
swear
Seeker is
to-
what Rost
aggressive.
was, because it's like you get to leave to like, because it was his family was killed during the raids or whatever, and they made him a Death Seeker to go out and get vengeance.
Oh, I always. was
Seeker
under
is
the-
just to leave in search of answers and stuff. Death Seeker is to go and claim revenge, but then you're an outcast.
Oh, I
He's
was
so-
all these years. I thought that she went back again, and then she was named Death Seeker. I guess not.
I don't think so.
It's at the beginning of the game. She's named a Seeker, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
you go back and you help him fight the Thunderjaw. And I thought that was where she becomes a Death Seeker, but I guess that must have just been my
I
imagination.
don't think so.
Seeks
I
death.
don't think so.
I thought she was an anointed at the end.
Yeah,
of it, like,
yeah. Nora's
you're anointed in that, and Aloy's pissed off with the title. So,
Yeah.
Really?
okay,
Yeah.
It's like fucking really.
That was a good moment in Zero Dawn.
Are we on a Zero Dawn spoiler cast here?
We're doing
or
a Zero
are we
Dawn
doing
spoiler
West
cast now.
I mean,
Where
she
were
doesn't have
we?
to become a Death Seeker. Yeah, no, she doesn't.
So after Val dies, so then Aloy gets knocked out, and you wake up and you're in the bunker, Tilda's bunker on Earth, and this was such like an interesting moment, seeing Aloy juxtaposed with like famous works of human history,
Yeah.
these different pieces of art and these sculptures and stuff, like walking through them, and like you can learn about each one, and like
I liked
what it
that a
did for
lot.
me was it shows the clear difference between Tilda and Aloy. Like Aloy is very much the person that Elizabeth fought for. Like Elizabeth was fighting for this new world to exist, and Aloy is the embodiment of that, whereas Tilda, you can see from this art, she's very much holding on to the old world.
Yeah.
And that's where like you get to see this clear difference between these characters, and like that was like the moment for me where it was like, no matter what Tilda said and how much you like feel like you can trust her, I was like, there's something about her that's
Yeah.
not
She smells
trustworthy.
fishy.
It's like there's
Exactly.
no way that she was, living for 1,000 years without scheming in some way or coming up with some
Yeah,
plan.
it's like
Yeah, no. It's
there was something about her. Something.
the character fucking stank from go, basically.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know.
the moment you see her and she's like, sit down, and you sit down at this fancy table, I was like, I know
That
this
whole
bitch
thing
can't
was
be
really
trusted.
crazy. Like at that moment, it felt very surreal.
It
Like
did.
because you felt very raw at the emotion of Val's death, and then you're sitting down having a cup of tea. Like
Yeah.
our world, it felt very the
Yeah.
juxtaposition to scenes and settings was very crazy. And this person that felt like a human of our world was talking to Aloy. That felt just so strange.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. It was like Aloy just feels a million times more human than this person who is a part of our world, like in the real world. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
she just feels
exactly.
alien. It's crazy. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and it was really cool to see him have that conversation. Obviously, you get like a big lore dump that you can go through all this optional dialogue, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
Learning about all these different components and stuff, and then obviously you have the moment where Aloy contacts Beta, and you get that moment where she calls her a sister for the first time that we talked about before, and that was a really nice moment. But you get, like, in that moment, you can see that Aloy has the upper hand. Like, you know, she's clearly coming up with some sort of other plan that she's not letting Tilda in on, because there's something dodgy about it. And I like that the game doesn't ever try to pull the wool over your eyes and be like, no, you need to, like, trust her, and Aloy trusts her, and all this stuff. Like, it's very clear, like, the entire time that the devs knew that you would be suspicious, and so Aloy is suspicious.
Yeah.
And you
But
never
I mean,
have
it
to,
does
like...
do a good job of making Tilda seem like a level-headed like person, even though, I mean, she isn't. She has an obsession with Elizabeth Sobeck, and that's sort of revealed more towards the end. But like, her justification for why she's helping you and stuff, you do believe her. Like, you do believe it. You're still dubious and suspicious, but you do believe that, you know, she just wants to, you know, bring Sobeck's dream into fruition and protect what she created and stuff. But there's clearly something else there as well.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, you can't tell why you don't completely trust her. Like, you can't tell what reason that is.
Yeah.
But you know there's something there. Like, she's hiding something.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool that that's set up at that point. Like, you know, there's just one piece of the puzzle that you don't know, and you can't figure out quite what it is until obviously the very, very end. But I
mean,
like
it
that.
kind of
that's set
makes
up quite
sense that
early
there
on.
would be something for a character. Like, you can't just throw a character down like that and have all their cars laid out from go. That doesn't make any sense.
It does.
It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
why go through all this effort to establish this character being sat here in this very moment, and then not take it in a direction that is a little bit harder to guess, or at the very least is a little bit more in line with what a character like this would want.
Yeah,
You know,
instead of it
and-
just being
and
like,
that's
oh,
what it
Tilda's
does.
good, she's a good guy. Because that would be so
Instead of
jarring.
secretly a good guy. It's
Yeah.
like, no, she's
Tilda
not.
is
It's
secretly a
complicated.
good man.
She's a man.
Yeah.
Now, that is a
Exactly.
fucking revelation. I mean, how bad of a man can she be? She literally turns into into a fucking Roblox thing.
To a robot.
She does do
no,
true.
that's not what I was trying to say. No, she turns into a Bionicle.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna say that. She fucking wears
yeah.
the what's it called? What are they called again? Those things.
Bionicles.
No, I mean like the
Bionicle.
Horizon Forbidden West. What are they
The
called?
Bionicle Forbidden West.
What do you mean? What are you
the
talking
fucking
about?
robots.
The boss fight where she turns into a
have.
giant robot.
Oh, the
the Sentinels.
It's a
or-
Bionicle.
Sentinel
Is
thing.
that what
It's
they're
a-
called?
yeah.
It's
Are they called
Sentinel Prime.
Yeah,
Optimus
Sentinel
Prime.
Prime.
It turns into
Yeah,
a fucking
yeah.
Bionicle, bro.
It does turn into a big Bionicle. I appreciated that. It made me laugh. Well, it didn't make me laugh, to be fair, but I was like, that does kind of look like a Bionicle. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I have to say
Right,
those
bro, is that a
Sentinels
fucking
weren't as fun
Bionicle?
to fight as like normal machines. I did
no.
find. I
They
was
were
like
so
every
easy.
time I fought a Sentinel,
really
I
kind
was
of
like,
easy.
it's like whatever. It's a whatever fight. Like
really
it's not
easy.
as interesting. But you know, you can't have everything. I guess
The most
It's
difficult thing
fine.
about them was their move pattern. They would sometimes like float up to you and shit, and then smash your head in.
Yeah,
But it
the
was like all you
fly
gotta
about.
do is hit him with a bit of acid, hit him on those gold plates, and you're laughing. You're
Yeah,
laughing.
yeah.
Absolutely
yeah.
laughing.
Yeah, no, with with most of them, I found them to be quite easy. Just slap them with acid, and
Yeah.
once you got that
It's
effect,
easy.
just use your regular arrows to knock parts off left, right, and center.
Or use the explosive fucking spearheads that are like OP
Oh
as
my
fuck.
god, they're so. I use that on every machine. It's ridiculous.
I never got a hold of those.
Really? They made the
No.
game so easy.
Oh my god, every single fight is so easy. You just throw it near a weak point, and it just blows it all off. It's amazing.
Okay.
Wow. No, I never really used them either.
Really?
No,
They
I
were
was just
so
sort of like
good.
using bog standard. Like after I finished the game, I managed to upgrade my bow to the point where it gave me like an advanced version of the better arrow. And then I couldn't describe it beyond that right now because I've slept a million times since I played this game at this point, and I was just loving that. I don't know. I kind of enjoy making the game as easy for myself as possible sometimes when it comes to things that are in there. But I mean, if I don't know it's there, I'm kind of just happy with what I've got, and that's where I wound up being with whatever the fuck I was doing. I was just
Yeah, I mean,
slapping shit with acid.
Plenty of good
I-
weapons in Forbidden
Yeah, I
West.
just focused on making sure I had all the different weapons with like tripcaster, ropecaster, a few, like at least 2 bows, the slingshot and everything, but having ones that had all the different ammo types, so that no matter what machine I came up against, I knew I had something that was strong against it, and that was and then I would like pretty much just light them up with like poison or with fire, and then just hit them with the regular, like your stock standard, like arrows. And just target the weak points. That was sort of how I did. I kept it pretty simple. Hey.
Yeah, I pretty much had like I just had like hunter bows of every elemental type, and then I had a precision bow, and then I had the fucking explosive spear thrower things because they were insane.
What I like about the status effects in this game is in Zero Dawn, once I got a frost blast sling, like one of the hunting lodge ones, I basically used no other of the elemental effects because it was so overpowered that I could just make every machine brittle and then just hit him with a few precision arrows and it'd kill him. But in this game, I think there's a much bigger emphasis on the different status effects and the different elemental effects. Like you can't just use like a frost on everything because not everything is gonna take to frost as easily. Like there's obviously that was the case in Zero Dawn as well, but it just feels like the difference between the different elements is a lot more different in Forbidden West, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you find yourself switching a lot more frequently.
Yeah, definitely. You can't just rely on one and then have that be your loadout. Like you have to use the different ones, and I scanned the machines a lot more in this game as well, and actually looked at the different parts and tagged different parts, opposed to the first game where I don't even remember if the focus works like that in the first game where you can select individual parts. Okay, it does. So I didn't do that much in Zero Dawn or the Frozen Wilds, but I did a lot of analysing and tagging machine parts before fights in Forbidden West, which felt really cool. Felt like I was like, actually analysing the fight and looking for advantages. It was very cool.
Detective George and that, just like I'm gonna figure out how to break you.
Just staring at a tremor tusk for like 5 minutes, like fucking scanning stuff.
Tagging all the
no,
parts.
you have to stare at those for about 5 minutes, otherwise they come and stomp your life away.
Tremor tusks are scary as fuck.
They're just hench motherfuckers.
I'm glad that Thunderjaws are still like scary as fuck in this game.
Yeah, what did we think about the machines and some of the, like, as we're getting towards like the end of the game now, what did we think of the main machines and the big fights they had to do? I thought there were some really cool, memorable ones throughout the game. What were the favorites?
The first and second giant snakes were okay. Then there was one in like a side quest where I thought to myself, oh, it's a fucking giant snake again.
I like though that those were fun to fight though. Yeah,
Thunderjaws never step wrong. They're just kind
classic
of bastards. I love them. I love the bastard Thunderjaws because they.
I really liked fighting the Tide Rippers, those like water ones.
I
don't know what it was about them. Those were fun as fuck. I just really enjoyed. They were probably my favorite machine in the game.
But the Tide Rippers,
fun to fight.
Can you describe the Tide Ripper?
They're like big seals almost.
Sure
you fight one at the end of the Las Vegas mission.
Yeah, the one that's swimming about in the ruins of Las Vegas.
I see. I thought that was more of like a. I thought that was more of like a, I don't know, like a Loch Ness monster sort of.
Yeah,
dinosaur.
It looks like a Pokemon, to be honest.
It looks like a Lapras.
Exactly. It does.
I liked the hippo-shaped robots that could they could sort of like suck you towards them for some reason. That was I just found them to be quite
one of those yet.
I think they were.
Have you not? They're only in side content really, but
I haven't engaged with a lot of like side quests and stuff. Like I've done cauldrons and I've done the arena and stuff, but I'm saving the rest of that for after.
The arena's a good time. I enjoy the arena.
Arena's very fun. Yeah,
I find myself slapping many people up in the arena. I will be honest. Sometimes you can do it exactly right and it goes wrong input, and I'm like, what?
Oh, the fucking arena! The pit fighting is so broken.
Yeah,
it can be. Yeah, I think the areas they give you to fight in should have been a little bit bigger because there's some times where you will just get juggled to fuck, and it's really annoying.
My biggest problem is with the inputs not being right. Like with like Ethan said, like where you do the input and it's just not right. And I had to look up a guide, and it apparently like you actually are supposed to miss some of the inputs to like get it right. Like,
What do you mean by
you're supposed to string them
inputs?
together differently? Like, so when it comes up with like what inputs you need to put in to do the combo, like the melee combo, it'll be like R1, like pause R1, and then it'll be like string it into the next combo, which is hold R1 and then do this. But what you're actually meant to do is R1, pause, R1, then hold, and that counts as the start of the next combo and the end of the old one. So if you
Wait,
do
you use
the first combo
melee
and the
versus
second
machines?
combo,
Yeah.
no, I mean in the melee
In
pit
the
fights.
melee pit.
Oh,
yeah.
I was talking about the arena, like the actual arena where you fight machines.
Oh no,
Oh.
I like that a lot. I like that a
Oh,
lot.
that's fine.
It is cool,
But
but
the melee pit fights are broken.
I haven't
Don't
done
do-
any of the pit fights yet. I need to do some of those.
I told you, like, I messaged you boys one day. I got way too baked and tried to play the arena, and it was just like I got so scared. The machines were terrifying. I was telling you.
Why dude
I
out
was too
playing
scared.
Horizon?
I was like, I have
Oh
to turn
my
it off.
god.
To be
Yeah,
fair,
it's
the
like
arena
outplaying
challenges,
Horizon, man.
they are hard as fuck.
They are
They're
fucking
so
super hard.
hard. You have to
Yeah.
They
stretch
are.
like all of your materials thin. You have to use everything that you've got in your arsenal to be able to just scrape through and get those arena medals. Like
And
that,
you've got
it's
to
a
piss and
fucking
shit.
huge challenge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard.
Good
Yeah,
fun though.
It definitely is. It definitely
Yeah.
is.
Okay, so
Um,
the final mission. Let's talk about the final battle. And
Yeah.
James, do you want to walk us through that?
Wait, before we do that, can I just talk
Yeah.
about the Sunwing
Mhm.
real quick? Because we haven't talked about the Sunwing.
Before we do that,
Oh.
can we talk about Raid Shadow Legends?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I'm joking.
Like just
Fuck Raid
briefly,
Shadow Legends. Fuck them.
the mission
Yeah.
where you actually get the Sunwing and then you go to where Regala is trying
For a
to, you know,
big
kill Hikaru.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's so good when you fly in and you come in on the Sunwing and then she gets off and she's like, I don't need a machine to beat you, Regala. And then the Regala boss fight happens and it's just it's
Yeah.
a good moment.
It's a
Good
nice
fucking
layered,
fight.
it's a nice layered traditional boss fight, you know, where it has sort of like phases where at one point you're doing melee, the next you're like using your bow, and then there's more melee, but it's in a more open space so you can do
Yeah.
both.
I really thought they'd
yeah.
fuck up this Rebel storyline and make it shit compared, like, or just a copy of the first game. But I
There
really
is-
enjoyed Regala and that a bit more, and that you gave her a chance. Did you guys choose to save or kill her?
I
saved
saved
her.
her.
Yeah.
Wait,
You just know
could
that was
ki-
the right choice.
you could kill her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
there's
must,
a
I must
choice.
have I must have forgotten that because I let her live.
Yeah, I let her live
yeah,
as
I
well.
let her live because
too.
she was
I-
useful later on. There is a
I can't
sto-
imagine Aloy killing her.
There is
No.
a storyline in Forbidden West that I'm not 100% satisfied with, but it wasn't necessarily the Regala storyline, if that makes sense.
What was it?
I think
on,
for
then.
me, the storyline that I wasn't 100% satisfied with coming out of it was probably Silence, but we'll talk about that after we've
Really?
spoken about the final. I'll explain.
interesting.
I'll explain at the end.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll get on to
Yeah,
that.
let's get into the final mission. James, do you want to start sort of walking us through where you
The
where
assault
you
Yeah.
on
got
the Zenith base.
That's right.
I think again, in like what I've been saying this entire time is that it gives me Mass Effect vibes. This did give me big
Yeah,
Mass Effect
this-
2 Suicide
This
Mission vibes.
this was like a little Mass Effect 2 sort of.
Yeah, like
installment.
everyone's got their job, everyone knows what they're doing. Aloy has a little bit of a speech, and then you all head off to meet up outside the Zenith base,
Yeah.
and like sort of then everything gets going. The actual mission itself was like fine. It was like a fun little set piece mission. You get to fight.
It was
the
hard
Xen,
to
this
tell
little
where you were
boss
supposed
fight.
to go at some points. It was like, where am I supposed to go?
It was
Yeah,
a
I
little
got
bit.
that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult to tell with the rocks at the beginning.
Yeah.
And also, if you
Um,
have the map markers on, they sort of just try to find the best direction for you to take to get to where you need to go. But it was sort of spazzing out on this mission for some reason. It was like, oh, it's all over the place. I was
Yeah.
like, well,
yeah,
okay,
it
then.
was a weird one, but that was all good and that was fun. I mean, what did you guys think of the boss fight with the dude?
What's his name?
I forget his name.
The dude that killed Var.
Derek. We'll call
Yeah.
him Derek.
yeah.
sure-
Wait, was
I
that
think-
just a guess?
I would not be surprised if that was
It
his
was-
actual
it was
name.
something
Is it-
along
is
those-
it Eric?
It was
It might
Eric.
be Eric.
Yeah,
Eric, yeah.
it was Eric, but I'm gonna call him Derek because, damn, that was close.
Eric
Uh,
Visser.
yeah,
That's his
Eric
name.
Visser, yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
a
so it was-
bastard.
Yeah.
Eric the Pratt, and he was sort of a bit of a muppet, and well, he got slapped up this time, didn't he?
he got his shit rocked, to be honest.
He was.
I comboed the fuck out of him.
I like that Zoe got the final blow to like
Yeah.
take him out.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice because Aloy doesn't seem like the type to just like be murdering as well. So it was like nice that Aloy wasn't the one to just like while he's
say
there
that.
helpless just stab him through the chest or something. I don't know.
You say that, but in Zero Dawn, if you chose to kill Olin, bang. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, true.
I
That's a
had
good
the-
point. You could
my-
do that,
my-
couldn't you?
My Valor Surge, I have melee might. So like literally, I just like turned that on and lit him the fuck up. I just pounded him.
He lit
I just-
the fuck
I had
I was
shields,
absolutely
so it
pounded
was
him
almost
to the
like
earth.
a reversal of like situations. So he had no shields, and then as soon as the fight started, I activated my shield, and it was like, look at who's got the shield now, bitch.
Oh,
Suck
I
me
like
off,
that. That's a good
basically.
way
That's
to do
cool.
it. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
enjoy.
Eric,
I
suck
enjoy.
me.
You like the mental warfare. I just wanted to absolutely pound him. to the
I
earth.
want
You know
psychological.
what I mean? I was like, this guy's gonna get fucked up. The last about 10 seconds, I just brutalized him.
He does get
Yeah.
fucked. To be fair, he does get absolutely fucked. It's a fine.
He
boss
gets
fight.
mangled.
Yeah,
It's
that
a
was
fine
fine.
boss.
I did
It's
really
nothing
enjoy
amazing.
the final boss fight.
Did you say you did enjoy
Where-
it or you didn't enjoy it?
I did enjoy it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did.
Yeah, I
found
liked it.
It
I
felt
did.
like
Yeah.
some Final Fantasy final boss, like this
Tilda
mental
turning
thing.
into
I-
a fucking
I-
bionicle was hilarious, but also very very good fight, to be fair.
I
'cause
did
it
get really
was.
angry because the first time I went through it, I got it right to like the final bit of health, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking beat this thing," and I was just like, "Oh shit, I just need a little bit of health," and I ran to a chest that they had to just get some berries, and it's there, and I hit triangle to get the berries, and it didn't work for whatever reason. It wasn't like going to my inventory, and then I just got hit because I was stuck there for like 3 seconds too
no.
long, and I was like, "Oh, that's really annoying," because it's
Yeah.
not a short fight. It takes a while to get the health down a bit.
Yeah.
For this one,
Acid
It's
in
quite a
it
slow
was
burner.
it was a great mission, and we pretty much at that point of the story find out that Tilda wants to take Aloy with her off world. And we find the real threat. What's this cluster that's following them called? Like
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Rogue
So
AI,
pretty
the
much now the
Xenon setup.
the villain and the setup for the third game. But then if we know anything about Horizon, it might maybe the first 2 hours of this next game, there's just some whole other crazy story that comes in. Like,
We never know what's
I
gonna
like
happen now.
I like with
We need
what
to
they've
talk to
done here because
random side quest again, James. We need him to like explain. So
we
much.
really do, yeah, we
to
do.
us about
But I
this.
like this because you know the Nemesis is the masters that sent the original signal to wake Hades. I really like that. You know,
The
it wasn't the
extinction
Zeniths. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Nemesis sent that signal, woke Hades, tried to destroy Earth because Aloy stopped it. You know, and the Zeniths are now running from it. Like the thing is coming to destroy Earth, and it's like this final. Like everything comes full circle again because it's like that first fight was because of Nemesis,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna actually fight the actual source of what caused.
It's like
the
the
extinction
human
signal in the first
forerunners
place.
running from the flood during that war. Just gave me that sort of vibe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing. Like when you look at any good middle game in a trilogy, Mass Effect 2, Halo 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, it's always maybe not Ezio games so much, but Mass Effect 2 and Halo 2.
Yeah.
They work as a middle point to connect two pieces, and I think
Yeah.
like that is what works so well when you look at a trilogy, like Empire Strikes Back as well.
Yeah.
Like the first part and the last part are always very similar in like the threat that they're facing and like what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. The middle point like works to connect those and give added context. So when you revisit the first thing in the third thing, it's got way more weight to it and way more context. And like I said this before, but like you see that, like, you know, you got the Death Star in A New Hope and you've got it in Return of the Jedi, but the context is so different because you've had that time with Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And I think Forbidden West has given so much context and so much weight and so much depth to everything that we saw in Zero Dawn that it's going to make that battle, you know, facing a very similar threat again in the third game have so much more weight to it that I think it just like this game did so much for that threat, and it's exciting.
And I think the thing about a third game is I feel already that I'm like, okay, I'm at that stage now with these characters of the story that I'm ready for, like, after a few years and when this game finally comes out, I feel like I'm gonna be happy for it to wrap up and end after a third game.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, nice, we've nailed it, great work, team, let's fucking call it a day.
Yeah.
But with Forbidden West, this is the first game, and
It's a
it's
middle
just,
part.
it's the first game in a while that I just was like, I don't want this to end. I can't remember the last time. I never thought, I'll say this, like, we're going to get into a few different like theories and a few different other things to wrap up the episode, but I just want to overall say that I think this game is a 10 out of 10. It's in my top 10 favorite games of all time. This game blew me away. I thought games were over for me in the sense of like I'll never love a game again the way I used to love games. That's over. I'm too old now. I'm too busy. I do other like with my career, with friends, with life, with whatever. I was just like, I don't care about games anymore. I thought that was over. Like, yeah, I like playing them, and I played a few games this year, and it's a bit of fun, but nothing will make me feel that way again. Not even God of War, not Horizon, nothing. I can't believe how much I love this game. It really has totally turned me around on like wanting to not play more, but also know that I can love games again, and I can get excited about things. And now I'm more excited for God of War now than I was before, just purely because I know that I can and maybe very well will feel that way about it also. This way about it. So I just think overall it's just it's top 10 for me. I like it better than Zero Dawn. To me was top 15. This is top 10 all time.
Yeah, Forbidden West is definitely better than Zero Dawn, which like I'm so glad to be able to say that a sequel to one of my favourite franchises is like leagues better, like so much better. I'm interested to go back to Zero Dawn and see what it's like now in comparison, because I haven't played Zero Dawn in a while.
Do you know the weirdest one is the face animations. Like watching Elder stream it has been so weird, like seeing how lifeless the animations are, because I never felt it was that weird when I played Zero Dawn. Like there was a lot of criticism that said like the face animations are terrible, and I was like, it's not that bad. Like,
well, they were they were pretty much just
bad.
they were kind of just averaging of the time, and now they're just sort of like blown away.
Yeah. So like looking back at that, it's like, well, that's fucking wild. But I think, I mean, this game for me is, it's the only time I've played a world that does side quests in this way, where I'm like, this could rival The Witcher 3, honestly, in the way that it does side content.
Oh, the side content was
I suppose. The thing that I noticed was a massive improvement is, when you're talking to characters in cutscenes and things like that, it's not just like 2 shots of over the shoulder. I like that there's more going on. And it feels like they're telling their own story. And I like how the side quests are also sort of sometimes wrapped up in little arcs. Like you got Chain Scrape,
you got
like Mayor fella who's a bit of a cunt.
Yeah, he's a bastard.
And every quest in that region sort of loosely plays into that arc of this dude is a massive bellend, and you're gonna have to do something about him.
And you can even run into them later on in the game, just randomly. Like there was one. Like, I'm not sure if you've done it, there's like a side quest little arc where there's a flooded town, Tanakh town, that you help rescue these people, but it leads one of the women of that town, because she wanted to leave and join the army for the, like, Tanakh chief, and you see her as a guard over there afterwards. One of the royal guard. It's like, that's fucking awesome.
That is really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
like, I just like that, and it's really nice. And like talking about the end of the game as well, is like, one thing I love about this game is that when you finish the final quest, it doesn't put you back before the final quest.
Oh yeah,
it's
I like
set
that as well.
After the final quest.
So once you finish
I hate
the final
when
quest,
games
it's
put
done.
you back before it.
Horizon
like,
set you before the final quest, and it's like,
did,
so none of that
It
fucking
did.
happened. To be fair, though,
it's like I don't want to do any side stuff anymore. Like I'm so done with the game. I can leave
to be
now,
fair
'cause
though,
it's-
the final quest in Horizon Zero Dawn did fuck up Meridian a little bit.
Oh yeah,
you
Meridian was like
you couldn't
fucked.
really. Yeah, but I like the way they
Forbidden
did it.
West
in
is
this,
a
so that,
little different.
You can go. I like when you're in the base and like you're left with like it's just Beta there now.
Yeah.
And Gaia,
Silence.
and then you can go out into the world.
Silence
like, if
there
you
as
go,
well.
If you go to like Las Vegas, Erend is there. You can find him. If you go to the Quen territory in like near San Francisco, you can find
shit.
Alva there. It's really cool.
That
Like
is really
Zoe is
cool.
in Plain Song. It's just like really cool that you can go and you can speak to them, and there's like a little sort of after game thing there. It's just
It's
like
Katalo
really
at
nice
the
that
Memorial Grove with
he is
Chief
yeah.
Akara. Love it,
He
it,
is, and
man.
you could talk to him. So like that's
They've
really
had an
nice to see
adventure,
that
which is nice.
they're out and about. So like that's cool. It just makes you feel like, oh, I can actually jump back into the game and I'm continuing. Like, you know, these characters are out spreading the word and like trying to get information out, and you're going around and you're helping people and you're continuing. It doesn't feel like you're put back and like
that's really good. I like that.
So I like that about it a lot.
I totally agree.
Banger.
So what do we think? What do we think going forward with a sequel? Ethan, what do you think?
Well, I mean, there was something I wanted to talk about before we got to that at the very least, and that was how I felt about Silence. You know.
Oh yeah.
Game.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Completely forgot.
Now, my logic is in Zero Dawn, Silence was a very interesting character because he was very ambiguous. I wouldn't say outright mysterious. There were questions that did get answered, but they often left more questions. And in Frozen Wild, you know, you could find a character that has also encountered Silence, and he's sort of like built up to be some like bogeyman sort of thing, to be sort of like this mystery, you know. And I feel like Forbidden West didn't play into that as a continuation as well as I would have liked. At first, you know, when you find him at that spire in Meridian, he sort of has like a little villain monologue, and I thought, you know, not really sure if this was the way I would have gone about it, but obviously I'm not in the position of a writer of these games, so they may know better than me. But when it comes to the rest of the game, I feel like his appearances were inconsistent in the sense that he just sort of like disappears after a certain point, doesn't show up until towards the end. And for me, and then at the end, there's this whole thing where he was going to jet off in the rocket, you know, and just go off world to escape Nemesis, and then he sort of obviously he realizes that Aloy's way has actually worked, you know. And so he sticks around and says, you're going to need all the help you can get and all that. And I thought, so the mystery is basically kind of gone, you know.
But
like,
there's the thing. We said that at the end of Zero Dawn. Couldn't imagine they could bring a bunch of mystery back like they did.
It wasn't about the mystery of, you know, who he was so much as I feel like I feel like for a middle part, they have played all of Silence cards in it because while the story is great in almost every conceivable way, I feel like this was one aspect where it had to suffer for that. Like Silence had to be scraped away for that, for everything to be told this specific way. And I think at the very end of the story, when Silence was like, right, I'm gonna hop in the rocket, are you coming with me to like Aloy? I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, Silence. You know, I think it's just one of those things where I feel like the use of Silence in Forbidden West is a little bit different to what I would have liked, in the sense that it just doesn't strike me as intriguing as Silence was as a character in Zero Dawn. And I was hoping for more from that character, in the sense of I want this guy to be like this sort of like to have more layers to him, to find out more as we go. I you know, at the end of Zero Dawn, I was happy with everything that had been told about Silence, because I thought, well, there's a mystery there, you know, not in the sense that it's an overarching narrative one, but there are things about this character that we don't know, and hopefully
we don't know everything about his character.
No, of course we don't. Of course we don't. But the point is, Forbidden West doesn't really touch down too much on the things we don't know, besides from what we're up to. What is up to? Sorry,
I just didn't think it mattered. I just think what this
That's
game
the
did so
thing,
well
though.
was let you know that, like, it was to sort of move your expectations one way and give you something even better, which was you're going into thinking Silence is all this shit, but you deal with that early on. Like we talked about this earlier, I think, before you came on, Ethan, which was that, you know, you thought Hades was going to be a big part of it, what they set up in Zero Dawn, but they deal with that so quickly and then give you all this, so much more than you were ever expecting, and it's one of the best parts of the game is learning and then getting all these other side characters, and then Silence, James brought up seeing Aloy the way he used to see Elizabeth, like admiring her, looking up to her, like it was a great arc for him, and getting to see him sort of join that fight. I personally really liked it.
No, I like the direction the story took. I just feel like Silence went too far aside for it. If
What,
that
as in
makes
it's
sense.
out of character
So
for
it
him
means
to
that-
just
what-
like stay?
There are some
like-
things that don't match up with my expectations, not necessarily Silent's character. So
So like you kind of wanted them to be able, like you wanted a central pillar of the game, or not the central pillar, but like a sort of a core aspect to be delving into maybe some of the questions that are raised, and even the Frozen Wilds does raise some questions about Silence.
exactly.
It's like, what is his past? Like, what has this man done to be
not
where
so,
he is? Sort
not
of thing?
so much, but I was just hoping for a more present or alluded to than he was. Because if you remember, there's almost a passing of the baton moment between the Silence story aspect with Hades and all that, and then the Zeniths, where he's like,
Yeah, there is, to be fair.
they'll spare your life, etc., etc., and they don't want to. So that's like, so Silence doesn't know everything, and that's fine. That point made sense, but I just wish between that point and later on in the game, there were points where there would be some allusion, to Silence still working his, thing. And obviously we have the Regala stuff and how Silence played a part in that, but the way I understand it, his part in that had already been played. And I just thought his lack of presence between there and the end was a missed opportunity for him to be, the character that he's meant to be, in the sense that there are things that perhaps could be answered with that space. And while Aloy's off doing other things, maybe side quests would do it. It's just,
I think the rebel camp side quests do talk about Silence quite a lot. So I did those during the sort of downtime in the main story, and there's plenty of
Oh, I
information
see.
on Silence in those quests, like the Sons of Prometheus and stuff. So maybe I didn't feel as wanting for more Silence stuff. I don't know.
maybe not. But I was just hoping for some like proper, just like an investigation sort of thing, where there's like that there are hints that this is something that Silence is involved in, because there are points in the story where it does do that, like when they find that like weapon that fucks up the Zenith on the mountain like that, and I thought, okay, I saw the weapon, saw what it did, and went, right, if rebels are using that, it's fucking Silence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Silence has been a busy boy, and I was happy with that, but I don't think they did enough of that as far as the side stuff is concerned, because while you go to the camps and you get all this information, there was nothing that felt like it was organically injected, in the sense that Aloy was actually taking it on board rather than the player taking it on board, and so I just sort of felt a little bit like Silence wasn't as present as I would have wanted in that chunk, necessarily to justify him then being present towards the end, like, bang, here I am.
Do you think it's a little bit jarring that he like got involved at the end? Out of
Not
nowhere?
so much jarring that he got involved at the end, but jarring that I didn't come the end. I understood what side he was on in this fight, and he was very open about the fact that obviously he has a greater goal and all that. But the thing that I found jarring was the he chose to stick around when he had this plan to jet off and escape Nemesis and all that, and I don't feel like Silence was explored in a way that made that satisfying to me, and I feel like there are ways that could have been, because
I can see that.
I look at this character and go, there is something more nuanced going on here, and surely we should have more information about this character, whether that's a red herring or not, before we get to this point. And I just don't know. I think the story did well in every single aspect, and this aspect. I just feel like towards the end, Silence was a character that had to suffer as a result of the otherwise great direction of the game in some ways.
That's fair enough. I did quite like Silence. Personally, I enjoyed how he was done, because if he was in it too much, it would just feel like Zero Dawn, where he was always
Oh no, of
harping
course.
on
I wasn't
Aloy's
expecting
ear.
the same. I wasn't expecting the same dynamic, if that makes sense. That
No,
wouldn't be
yeah.
what I'm after. I was after an obvious shift in dynamic, but at the same time, there still needed to be a dynamic that was consistent.
Maybe that's what
And
they're
I
setting
don't-
up for the next game. That they're
Maybe,
gonna try and
maybe.
include Silence a little bit more.
Maybe, but I don't want Silence to be
Yeah.
like there with you. Like I think I prefer
He's just
Silence
always
as a-
there.
He's
It'd
just
be nice for
always
them to
there.
have.
He's just always
It'd be
with you.
nice
No,
for
I always
them to
liked
do,
that he
like-
showed up when he felt like it, or when it was important, and it was almost like an omen of this is something significant. You know, I like that, but I would have it a little different going forward with this character, because obviously now he saw that Aloy's way was better in the sense of dealing with the Zeniths and all that. And so now I think what the route they're going to take naturally is they're going to develop the side of Silence we haven't seen yet, if it so exists. Obviously, he's still got his own schemes going on, because it's Silence in it. But I think now the best thing they can do is try to establish a bit more of a bit more of emotional 3-dimension to this character, and see what they can do with that. But obviously still keep it in line with the fact that this is a fucking sociopath.
Yeah, Silence is fucking mad,
yeah.
man. I don't know what his mental state is like right now.
Yeah.
He's a nutter.
Okay, so do we want to go around, just
Future
give our
theories, yeah.
future theories quickly, because it's almost 12:30. It's way too late.
Yeah,
I need
sure.
to
This
go.
has been a long one.
It's been 2.5
man.
hours.
God damn.
And I definitely need to go to sleep. So,
Yeah.
general thoughts, George. What do you want to see from the next game in terms of, obviously, I think we're just never going to know. They're going to surprise us again. But in terms of Aloy as a character and the world, and like, what are you looking forward to in the future of this franchise?
I want the gang to get back together again, obviously, in the next game. You know, all the characters that were sort of teamed
Val
up,
just appears
part
as
of
a
Team
Force ghost.
Aloy.
Yeah.
All the characters that were part of like Team Aloy in this game. Obviously, I want them all to come back and team up again next time with some new characters. In terms of Nemesis, we don't really know what it is, so I can't really have any theories on how that's going to be dealt with, because we actually don't fucking know anything about it.
I reckon
is it
there's
AI?
going to
Or
be
what
some
is it?
files, I reckon, somewhere in the side in this world that I'm sure random side quests will fucking pick up and be
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
hope
sure.
so.
I'm sure.
There's most definitely some lore out there that can be deciphered. Where the fuck is the next game going to be set as well? Like, obviously, I'm sure it'll be set
true.
somewhere in America, but like,
Do you
Where
think
do
we're
they
going to be
take
getting
us?
the last subordinate functions, like the last couple?
that might be DLC. I mean, we could always do
Oh,
that. next
true.
Oh
time.
yeah,
That's a
you
good
might do
point.
that in DLC. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we've got Apollo, and Hephaestus has obviously escaped again, so that's something they need to do.
I love that.
We need to
Festus
get
is just
Festus
always
back.
Can we get the
escaping.
Forbidden East and just go out towards Florida? That would be nice.
Oh god, fucking Florida! You go to the swampy bogland and like the ruins of like Disney.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Florida man will still be there. It'll be a massive
my
villain.
God, could you
That'll be a
imagine them
massive
doing
villain,
that?
Florida man.
Sorry, what was I saying? I completely forgot. My memory is so.
You're
fucking
talking about
bad.
you were talking about what you want to see in the next game.
What was the last point that I made?
You were talking about you don't know what Nemesis
where
is
the
gonna be.
what's happening?
Or
with
where it's gonna
Nemesis,
go.
Yeah, where the next game is gonna be set. Fucking, I want to see Cyan again. I know that's like such a small
That'd be
detail,
cool.
but I would like to see when they mention Cyan, when you can talk to Gaia and talk to her about Cyan from the Frozen Wilds, and I thought we were gonna see her at some point, but no, I would like to see Cyan again. Yeah, I don't really know where it could go from here. It's so crazy now, you know, with everything that's happened, that I
That's
can't
for
even
sure.
begin to make theories. Like
There's
Horizon Zero Dawn was really easy to make theories about because of how predictable the ending made it seem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
then we were
then-
just wrong, and then we
Yeah.
were just completely wrong.
Yeah.
And then this game threw down what the fuck left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
and
like
it was,
1,000-year-old
those were my
demons.
favourite. Those were my favourite moments of the game. Is the what the fuck aspect.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's like,
Definitely
where-
had
where
plenty
the
of
fuck-
those.
Yeah, what the fuck sort of
Yeah.
things. It's like Ted Farrow being alive, the Zeniths just in general. Like,
Yeah.
Beta rocking up, being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You know, it's those things. That's hopefully. I think Forbidden West was unpredictable for a purpose. As a middle part, it makes the most sense. But I don't think going forward it needs to necessarily be too unpredictable now. Obviously, this Nemesis is the threat going forward. I think that's kind of the clarity of it. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, fuck it up in the first half of the game and be like, "Oh no, big bad Silence." And he's just got his own plan, that's to destroy the fucking planet. No, I doubt it's something.
big
Yeah,
bad
no,
silence.
no.
I think they just did everything so well in Forbidden West that when I look at what I want next is the best part about Forbidden West was all these things I didn't expect or didn't think about or just didn't see coming. I just trust Guerrilla and their vision for this franchise. If this game felt like the complete game that they couldn't get to do with their first rendition, where they had to get a few things wrong and build on the technology and build upon the engine and the world they've built mechanically as well. And I feel like this is almost their like completed vision. So it's crazy to think that maybe there's even more they want to do they haven't gotten to do that they'll do in the next game. So I just trust them to follow that vision. Just give me more Aloy, give me more of those of the side characters in the world I love, and bring me into new locations where I can learn more about the different tribes that I'm sure will be amazing and unique in their own way. And just keep doing what they're doing. Like literally, I don't have any set. It's what's beautiful about it is I don't have like an expectation like a Red Dead Redemption 2. I remember saying to James, literally, this is a game that has to do this or it's shit. Like it literally has to do these story bits. It needs this to pay off. It needs this to happen. It needs this to happen, or else there's no point in them doing this prequel. Like, and they did, thankfully, so it was just amazing. But with Horizon, I'm like, just do whatever you want. I don't care. Like I trust you. I trust you to take what you've built. You've proven that you care and that you know what you're doing. You've proven that you've got a vision. Just do it. That's how I sort of feel going forward. And I think West 10 out of 10 love it.
I think I agree with that, because while I had that point about Silence, that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't go in a more fitting direction going forward. I feel like the middle part, maybe that's kind of part of what he needed to be, but you know, I always, when it comes to games that where the sequel is, you know, like 5 years away, let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If the trend is to be believed, I always go in with the belief that the sequel to this game may not happen, even if it's planned. You know, that's my mindset of.
I mean, it's a long way away. Guerrilla might go bankrupt.
So when it rocks up, I'm sure I may think of it differently. You know, and as long as the Nemesis plot is, you know, it'll probably be the highest stakes of any plot, you know, Horizon's given us so far.
Yeah.
And isn't, you know, and isn't a subversion of expectations where Nemesis is like
Silence.
like Hades like Hades was in fucking Forbidden West, because that worked as a red herring, but you can only get away with that once, I think.
Yeah, doing it
Well,
again
they've definitely
would be silly.
set it up so like Nemesis is this world-ending thing. I mean, it already destroyed the Zenith colony on the Odyssey,
and now it's
whatnot.
coming for Earth.
And now it's coming for Earth, yeah. So I'm interested to see what the fuck it actually is. Like, it's an AI,
yeah,
right?
for sure. It's an AI, yeah.
Damn. Like,
It's
what
like
what
really
is
imagine if it
ridiculously
rocks up and
advanced.
it's just
Like
like,
it's
I'm
just
sweet.
got corrupt because it like because it got corrupt and then they like kept it isolated for like 1,000 years or something, and that's like when it broke. Like that entire time they thought it was dead, but it wasn't, and it was thinking, and like it like gained this like level of sentience where like now it resents humanity for what the Zeniths did to it.
Ooh, like something that could happen. Like this could be like a symbolic sort of like battle where it's like Gaia is like the side of light, and then Nemesis is like the devil or like darkness. And like, what if?
It's not
what
Kingdom
if
Hearts,
Gaia,
bro. Maybe just
what
relax,
if Gaia like dies? Hey, stop fucking laughing at me.
What if
Oh, I'm sorry, mister. I'm going to copy everything Thomas says in his own fucking accent.
I don't care if Gaia dies.
I was
Just
gonna
make sure that
say
Eren
was,
lives
like-
and all's good.
I believe Gaia could possibly die in the next game, meaning that there is no hard reset button for the world anymore. Like, Gaia, she fulfills her purpose, but in doing so dies, trying to, you know, defeat Nemesis or whatever, or something like that. And then, basically, the story of Horizon has reached a point where there is no, like, reset anymore. People aren't fighting over the subordinate functions of Gaia or, you know, trying to reset the world. It's just now the whole point is moving forward with this world that they have. I feel like that could be
Yeah.
could be a thing.
I think
Definitely.
Gaia probably need to die in the
At the
third
end,
game.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
maybe even at the beginning. Honestly, I think
think
Gaia could
Gaia
die
needs
in
to
the
become
first third of the game.
Make
Yeah,
Gaia
that'd be a
kip
stake
permanently. That's all I'm saying.
Because then there is no because Aloy is supposed to be Elizabeth but better, and I think that the true culmination of that would to be the Zero Dawn project is gone, and so the only outcome of this is not to build a world that exists in 1,000 years. It's to save this one. It's the only thing you can do, and Aloy has to do what Elizabeth couldn't do and save this world. Without Zero Dawn and without Gaia, and defeat Nemesis. And I feel like that would be like the perfect development of Aloy, to be like this, be this person that Elizabeth really really would have loved to have seen.
Yeah,
you know,
she's not
you know,
Elizabeth
exist.
Sobek, she's better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would be this perfect ending to the trilogy and to Aloy's arc, and to call back to the old ones and just have everything come full circle in the most perfect way. And
man.
On top of that, I also think that Nemesis should bring up a Horus, and we should fight it, because I have seen those things in the fucking earth just sitting there as old ruins for 2 games now, and I need to fight one, please.
And it's like, you know, one of the things that I wanted
Nemesis
from,
was Among
from
Us.
Zero Dawn. Nemesis Among Us.
That's got to be what it's leading to, right? They've got to be saving
imagine
those.
that.
Because they did sort of bring those mega machines sort of to light when you take one of the like bombs from it.
Yeah.
That is like, okay, when are we actually going to get to see it play a role?
Yeah, like have it come up, it's fucking walking across the world, destroying shit, and you've got to fight it. I want
That's
that, like
gotta
a
be the
big
end
set
fight.
piece battle.
It's like a God of War, like old God of War fight where it's just Aloy versus this.
You're like climbing around it,
Yeah.
flying around on a sun wing. Like, it'd be sick. Like, destroying this map, they'd be so sick.
They have to, because I mean, there's 2 things that I wanted since Horizon Zero Dawn. One of them is flying, and they've put that in. So the only other thing they can put in the 3rd game is me fighting a fucking Horus. That's all I want. That's all I want. It'd be so fucking cool.
It'd be sick to see Gaia's like, because they talked about like Gaia being able to build an army. What if they did that somehow once they finally get Hephaestus, and you've got Aloy with like a bunch of robots and stuff, like the machines fighting against the Horus. Like you've got this, you know, this actual battle here between, and I would love to see Aloy, like, because she's become this like this person that everybody knows. Wherever she goes, everyone knows her. They've got a statue of her in Meridian. I would love to see her rally all of the different tribes to like unite under
like
her
an endgame moment
to fight Nemesis. It would be so sick to see like this unity between these tribes that once disagreed
it's
with each
literally
other.
Mass
and
Effect 3.
warred
It's
and stuff.
literally
Literally, it's Mass Effect 3.
Literally
It's literally it. Like,
sat there with a Mass
Yeah,
Effect
you're just doing-
checklist going,
it
right,
turns out
we've got the Mass
this-
Effect 1, we've got
we
the
all
Mass
wanted
Effect
these
Mass
are
Effect.
Mass Effect. These games are Mass Effect.
And at the end, I
it's
want
crazy,
Commander
like-
Shepard on the Normandy to show up, and he starts fucking smashing everyone else.
And you know what? I'm fine with
Oh
it.
my
I
god,
can't
that's
wait till
literally
there's
what I
an
want.
end
I want
choice.
Mass Effect 3, but done better. Like that's what I want.
It's a well-represented Mass Effect, basically.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I
have a
want.
really beautiful way to like end the final battle as well, as if like, you know, humans have always struggled with peace, and yet in this, you know, when everyone's got a common enemy, all of these tribes that are completely different to each other finally band together to defeat a common evil. Like, it would be such
Yeah,
a
before they
good
go back to
It'd be
killing each
meaningful.
other, usually how
Yeah,
it
but we
goes.
don't talk about that. Just
Yeah.
pretend that doesn't happen. But like, because like the whole thing that
Nobody lives
started
in
this as
peace.
well was
What's
warfare
peace, man?
as well.
Fuck peace. Go to war.
Like
Let's
with-
go.
with Pharaoh Automated Industries or whatever, Pharaoh Automated Solutions, like creating these war machines. Like all of this started because of war.
Yeah.
And like for the game to end on a note of peace and unity would be like really meaningful.
Yeah, it would be.
There's a lot they could do here. And if it doesn't do anything that we've even said, I'm probably still going to be happy with the game because they'll probably do something that
I would
is
not be
unexpected
surprised if
and I
this
love.
wasn't a Mass Effect 3. This was more like a, you know, just a random sort of.
It's more of an
far as
Assassin's
the-
Creed
as far-
Revelations.
I don't know if I'd like. I don't know if I'd.
Aloy
you
goes
gotta-
into
into Elizabeth's
finds
library.
Elizabeth. Sorry,
yeah. She has a
I've seen
library.
enough
she
for one
walks in
line.
and she goes,
Dies.
"No books." No,
The Library of Elizabeth Sobek.
Yeah, of course. Well, that makes sense. You know.
To be fair, she's already
Oh my
had her meeting Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Sobek
true.
Moment, you know.
I
it's
want to
like
be able to
when
go
Freya
there
meets
in a game or
Ezio.
something. It'd be fun.
Go
I
where?
want another. The base system was cool. I hope we get a similar thing to
I want
that.
to go there. I want to
Yeah.
smell the grass. I want to
want to
smell
go-
it.
I think though what they might do, maybe not in a sequel, but maybe in an expansion, if they, because this game, you look at Forbidden West compared to Zero Dawn, it's so much of a bigger game. So I would assume the expansion is going to be bigger than the Frozen Wilds.
Yeah.
In which
Oh, you hope
case,
so?
I think there's potential to explore the Quen homeland in a DLC expansion
I think-
for whatever
I think
reason they might
possibly.
do.
I think
I think there's a
it's a long
possibility
journey.
there.
I don't know. Aloy
Yeah,
might come back and be like 36, but hey, that might actually kind of work.
Because they talk about being across the Pacific Ocean. That would be so long.
That'd be
I
months.
mean, she
Yeah,
can
just
just fly.
don't worry
so-
about
let's
it.
be
They've got
real.
a rocket. They've got a spaceship. Just take it.
Let's
No.
be real.
Odyssey.
Nemesis is fucking far, man. You know, of course, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, I think
And I think that'll set it up for a bit more of a different story because Aloy's like 20 in Forbidden West, right?
she's 21, isn't she?
Yeah, she's.
No, she was
she's
like
20.
19 in.
'Cause she was
Zero
19 in
Dawn.
Zero
I thought
Dawn.
she was
And
20.
this is set
oh,
6
yeah,
months
okay.
after, and she's probably about
Yeah,
20.
she's 20. Yeah.
Oh, it's set, I thought it was set a year after. Because at some
No,
point in the
6
game they
months.
mention like, oh, okay, fine.
6 months suck me off, George.
I'll take your
They say it at the
word for
beginning.
it.
And I think it'll be an interesting sort of difference if we saw Aloy with with a bit more age, if you know what I mean. Just
Bit of a mature,
That would be
mature
interesting.
cougar.
exactly.
That would. What if she is the same age Elizabeth was in this
Oh,
game?
so
Like
get-
when
what,
she
So
died.
the next game starts and it's like fucking 20 years after the events of this.
Yeah, I
game.
guess they
No,
can't really
that's,
do
you
that.
do
can
that with
they?
another. Do that in your next trilogy. When
Yeah,
you
you
re-
can't,
when you
can
read the
you?
series.
Imagine the Reapers, but with time to prepare. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. You got like 20 years.
Who wins?
So that's how you know
Nemesis
that Aloy will
or
be
Aloy
22.
with prep time.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it took them 19 years to get from their planet to Earth. So how long is it going to take Nemesis? I guess it was following them. So like maybe there's a few years delay. So maybe there is a couple years that it's going to
That's
take
not-
for Nemesis to get there.
Yeah.
That's my logic. And let's be honest, nobody on the boat from the Quenlands was particularly old, so it didn't take them too long. You
No,
know?
it probably took them a couple days,
Yeah, it took them a fast minute
maybe
or
a
two.
week
yeah.
or two. You know?
Maybe a couple
cross.
of weeks, but they arrived. They're happy, and well, yeah. So no time really, plenty of time to explore the Quenlands.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
cool
think
to
that
see
would be
like
cool.
the ruins of like I guess it'd be like East Asia. I guess is like the
Yeah,
Quenlands.
potentially.
Yeah, or Australia. Maybe.
I mean, it could be.
Maybe
yeah.
that's where we go.
That's a big. That's
um,
pretty far.
But
Yeah, it could be like Japan.
it'd
It could
be-
be.
Oh, Japan,
yeah.
that'd be so fucking cool.
like
It
that
would be
sort of
pretty
area.
fucking.
See
It
the
would be pretty cool.
to see a
Oh.
different like side of the old world that we've never really seen before. I think would be
Yeah.
cool, and also like
No,
the way they
I've got-
describe the Quenland is like very built up. Like they've got an empire. Like
like a
I imagine
city.
it to be quite
The
a
capital
yeah. I
city
imagine it
there
would be
and
like
stuff.
a city that you're exploring and stuff
Oh.
more than the countryside areas and stuff like the jungles and stuff.
Yeah.
So being able to explore like a really built up city that's like Meridian but on a huge scale would be like really
That
cool.
would be so fucking cool. And it'd be interesting
that's
because the
something I'd like
Quen
to
are
see.
quite an interesting civilization. Like they're really weird. The way like the hierarchy works and the overseers are like always trying to shield information from the people and stuff. I think it'd be cool to see Aloy possibly undo that or influence the Quen in a way so they're less shrouded in their own ignorance.
And I think, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're looking at, like, if Aloy ever has to unite the tribes, it would make sense for her to have to go to the Quenlands because they're, like, an empire, so,
Yeah, they have
you know,
a
that
huge
could
army.
make sense for them
Yeah.
to do that, but...
Yeah,
Who
Tyler's
knows?
probably sat there going, "I just want to go to fucking."
Yeah, maybe we should wrap up now.
I was
Well, I
like,
think we've done
yeah,
it.
cool. The Quinn are alright, I guess. Fuck them.
Fuck
I
the
feel
Quen.
like we have covered it all.
Yeah.
at this
We've done
point.
a
I feel
lot,
like we
we've
can-
done
We've done
we
the
can
full.
wrap
Well,
this up.
I've probably been here for about half of it at this point, just under. So
Yeah, well,
you're welcome.
you made it here, so and we're glad you did. We're glad.
I made it, and I had some. I
Yeah.
had some insight. I had some knowledge, and
Wonderful.
the Nemesis is among us. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's
Nemesis
very
is
fun.
among us.
Alright.
Just imagine Silent's head pops off and Nemesis appears. It's like it's me.
That's what
It's
my
always
opinion
been
is.
me.
Imposter Among Us shows up and it goes dun 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 dun.
Okay, you know
Alright.
what? Fair enough. Right.
That's a big
kill
yawn.
this.
We're
All
done.
right, let's. We've done it. Thank you everybody for listening, for watching this
I
episode
made
of the
it.
Four Pillars podcast. All four of us here. It's brilliant. The Horizon Forbidden West spoiler cast. Be sure in the YouTube comments,
Oh, man.
have a chat, discuss. Let us know what your thoughts of the game are. I'm sure plenty of people will tell us, well, you didn't talk about this, that, and the other. Again, we could have sat here and talked about this game for 10 hours. We just don't have the time. I need to
I've got to get to
fucking
the
bed.
shops and pick up some stuff for a
so-
big hefty do all week.
Brilliant. So
Oh,
we're
I'm gonna top
we'll
myself.
we'll all see you next week for the As Always podcast on the Four Pillars Network. I believe Streamcast is.
Nah, who
I
cares about
don't know what
fucking
that-
Streamcast?
Okay, never
Shite
mind.
to
I mean, I'm
Streamcast.
on most of
Suck
the
me
episodes,
off.
so I care.
Oh, that's worth watching then.
Yeah, that
there you
is.
go. If
And
Tyler's
check out,
on
we
it,
did
you
the
should
Batman spoiler cast on last week's As Always podcast. If you haven't
I've not even seen the
or
Batman.
listened to
Yeah.
that, you should go see it. It's really good. But
I
yeah,
don't. I
thanks,
won't
boys,
have
for-
time
for-
until like next weekend.
Well, then go see it next weekend. Do it. It's worth it. You'll love it. I think. You'll love
Yeah, there you go.
it. But yeah, boys, thanks for being here, and thank you everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Everyone. See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
See you later.